At the Okoli Law Group, we specialize in producing justice. If you or a loved one in the Atlanta metro area is facing serious criminal charges, then you need serious legal representation.
The Okoli Law Group is here for you. The Okoli Law Group is here for us.
The Okoli Law Group, serious legal representation.
Peace, family. I hope all is well. I hope your Sunday is going well. Do me a favor, hit the like button again. Hit the like button. You guys should know the drill by now. As you come into the chat room, please hit the like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I see some people in the waiting room. I'm still waiting for Baba Obafemi to come on. I think he might have gave you guys the wrong link. I'm not sure. But again, hit the like button. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. Before we jump into today's topic, have a couple of announcements, y'all. Got a couple of announcements. Announcement number one, we are rolling to Nigeria. Again, we are rolling to Nigeria August 4th through the 13th. August 4th through the 13th, we will be in Nigeria. We will love to have you all in Nigeria. Come and join us for the Oshun Festival. Again, come and join us for the Oshun Festival. We are going to have an excellent time in Nigeria, August 4th to the 13th. Please visit Danfo. That's DANFO.Africa to learn more. Again, please visit DANFO.Africa to learn more. We're also rolling to Zanzibar, and that's September 22nd through October 1st. September 22nd through October 1st, we are rolling to Zanzibar. We have 4 spots left for each trip. Again, we have 4 spots left for each trip. So if you want to roll, visit Danfo.Africa. We will love to have you all. Without further ado, Abuduro Oboye, Baba Obafemi.
Good afternoon, Ekasao. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and well. Ekason. I think he froze up on us.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you now. Yeah, I froze up for a second.
Okay. How's everything?
You keep glitching a little bit, like freezing, like you'll freeze up, like yeah, like right now you just froze.
Yeah, it seems like maybe.
Yeah, you froze up again. We're having some technical difficulties. We'll get Bob Obafemi back on here shortly. But again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Sunday. It's beautiful here in Atlanta. Guys, go outside, touch some grass, get some sun, all that good stuff here in Atlanta, because it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day, everyone. It is an absolute gorgeous day outside. So make sure you do all of that. Let's see here where we're at. Okay, let's come on. Yeah, Obafemi, you keep freezing up on us, and now you're I can't.
Okay, how about now? Is it okay?
Yeah, I can't see. I can't.
Still glitching.
Yeah, I can't. Now I can't see. Your screen is off. Like it's. There you go. Now I see you.
You can't see me at all.
I see you now. I see you now.
Okay, I wonder what it is.
Yeah, I see you now.
Hold on, let me change if I go to my okay. Coming through clear?
Yes, coming through clear. But you keep freezing.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'm not sure.
No problem. We'll work through it. But Cabo.
How about now?
Let's see here. Yeah, I hear the birds chirping in the background.
Okay, good. Yeah, I turned off the internet on my phone. I think maybe I'm a little far from my
Okay, so using the data.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that works the best then. Yeah, keep using it. Just stay on the data because you're good to go now.
Okay. Good. 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 Sorry about that. How's everybody doing today? Good afternoon.
I'm doing great. All is well. Can't complain.
Yeah. Good. What's our topic today?
No, I wanted. So we were speaking about this earlier. Well, last week when we were talking on the phone, we were speaking on Pan Africanism and the direction it's going in.
Yeah.
So I wanted to build on that just from like an IFA perspective, just like your experience with Pan Africanism, the way the direction is going in, if it's antiquated a little bit as far as the way the direction is going in, how it needs to be changed or shifted, or that's the new strategy, or are we using old concepts for we're using concepts from the early 20th century, but now we're in 2024.
Right.
That's how I wanted to. That's what I wanted to gear that's the direction I wanted the conversation to go in today, from like an IFA perspective, and just the importance of being able to adapt, and the Pan-Africanism that I hear a lot of people teaching and preaching online. Is it applicable for Africa or for Black people in 2024?
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I love this topic because when I started practicing Ifa, everybody was a Pan-Africanist.
Right.
That's why we came to it. We had made the progression from straight ahead Pan-Africanism, wherein so for example, I'm the product of an independent Black school, right?
Okay.
I went to a school called Ileomode. Excuse me, I went to a school called Omo Wale Ujama down in Pasadena. I taught at Ileomode in Oakland, but I as a student was at Omo Wale, which was started by the US organization.
Okay.
And so those folks were like, they were more on the Maoist, socialist,
Right.
you know what I mean? And the
Marxists, I guess you could throw that in there, maybe.
yeah, without question. So
Okay.
folks were going back to Tanzania, they were going back to Kenya, they were going back to Ghana. My teachers and the people in our community had become expatriates and all that kind of stuff, right? And so when I went back, so when I finished school and I got my master's in education, I majored or I took my MA in education, but I wrote my thesis on human development from a Yoruba perspective and a Western perspective.
Okay.
And so I went back to my school and I provided this course for the teachers and the parents around becoming a whole human being, basically. And so it was real great because the headmaster, Mwalimu Naima, she received me and she let me teach this class. It was like 8 weeks, and she was super appreciative. All the parents were super appreciative, and they kept saying, this is what was missing from the movement in the 60s and the 70s. We didn't talk about our ancestors. We didn't talk about the divinities. We didn't talk about the spiritual aspect of it, because in that whole, socialist concept, everything that was, religious and all that kind of stuff, they took the Chinese approach, right? And they removed all that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
And so that's a lot of stuff like, you look at the Black Panthers and stuff like that. There wasn't no religious component to the Panthers.
You got a point. You got a great point. I didn't think about it like that. You're right.
And so they applauded it, right? But when I started interacting with people around the country, primarily online, I could see there was a difference in their philosophy. People were coming into Orisha and they didn't have a social agenda. They didn't have a social responsibility. They didn't have any kind of a collective consciousness. And so I started asking people, like, what's your connection to Pan-Africanism? What do you know about, standing for the community? Like, what's your role? What's your mission here? And I started to find more and more that people didn't have it. So that was the first aha moment for me. It was like, okay, these folks haven't read. They haven't been a part of organizations. They haven't done things.
Right.
They're coming into Orisha exclusively from an esoteric perspective.
Right.
So that's the first thing that I think is important to point out. Not all of us are exposed to or steeped in any kind of Pan-Africanism or community activism or any kind of a sense of a social responsibility. That's one. And that matters because what we have right now is we can't take the national portion out of it, because most of us are being exposed to the Cuban experience, and the Cubans are extremely nationalist.
Right.
They're coming out of the same thing. They're coming out of a socialist framework also, but in the Cuban model, the culture was woven into Castro's regime as a part of as an expression of the national identity.
Expand on that a little bit. Hopefully we're not going too far off topic, but expand on how Castro. Well, I don't know much about Cuba and Castro personally. I don't know.
I know very little myself. I just know from exposure. But what I know and what I've observed and talked to different Cuban practitioners, actual Cubans, was that the revolution couldn't be legit if it continued to promote white supremacism.
Okay, and that includes the religion, I guess, right?
And that would include, like, hey, you know what? The black people here didn't come here like the white people here, and this is their culture, this is their heritage, and they have made up the national identity. So when we do rumba and we play bata and we sing to Orisha, that's an expression of revolution. That's an expression of freedom. That's an expression of our national heritage and identity that's authentically Cuban.
Okay.
So that's why you have, like, in the Cuban National Ballet and all that kind of stuff, they really put the black folklore right up front. You don't see no Spanish folklore in Cuba. If you go to Cuba and they start talking about folklore, you're not going to see nothing from Valencia, from Madrid, or nothing like that. When they talk about folklore, they're going to talk about Congo, Arara, Orisha.
And these are even like the white Cubans.
Even the white Cubans, when they want to be Cuban, I'll talk about Afro-Cuban food. They're going to want to talk about Afro-Cuban, the language, the vernacular, all of that kind of thing. So that was how they came into it. But somehow when we got exposed to the Afro-Cuban tradition here, we didn't get the sense of African American nationalism. You follow what I'm saying? So we saw the Cubans big up the African culture as a part of Cuban national identity, but that didn't transfer to us as African Americans practicing African American national identity.
Okay, so does this explain then? Because I noticed, so when I started traveling to Africa, because I was part of the conscious community, and I started off in Nuwapu.
Okay,
I was in Nuwabia.
Yep.
And being in Nuwabia, and we engage with other conscious community, sectors of the conscious community or whatever.
Yep.
But what I noticed, like in 2011, when I went to Africa, the response from Black folks in the conscious community was that of like shock, like, "Oh, you really going there? Oh, they got planes go fly." I'm not lying. Oh, how you get there? They got planes that go there.
I know.
Hotel, you ain't worried about malaria and HIV and
I know.
The tigers and the lions. And this was coming from
I know.
And I was like,
it was
whoa.
It's shocking. I know.
Yeah, so does that play a role in it? Because it was just, I saw the African medallions and all that, but then when it was like time to go, it was like, whoa, you serious? I'm like, yeah.
Ain't that what we've been talking about?
Right.
Isn't that why you changed your name to this and you going by, blah, blah, blah? That's like, don't you want to go to where it comes from?
Yeah.
Nah. When I went and the first time I went, I took my son, who was like 4 months old. Man, you would have thought I was talking about we're going to try to live at the bottom of the ocean. People did everything to try to talk me out of it. Same thing. What about Rwanda? You know what I'm saying? I went there. It's like Rwanda was. Oh, what about the Hutsis, the Tutsu, the Hutu and the Tutsis? Like that's like you realize like that's 1,500 miles away from where I'm going, right?
It's all the same. It's right next door. It don't matter. It's still right next door. It's still right next door. Yeah, it's still right next door. It don't matter.
Wow. No, man, that's nowhere near where I'm going. So, you know, our people have at the end of the day, what I have learned from it when it comes to being Pan-Africanist in the culture, we do have to test people and not test people to exclude them, but we got to test them to verify that they're coming from the same place that we're coming from. Because we can all be showing up here, right? The drinker and the bartender is both at the bar all day, but they're not doing the same thing. So a lot of our people are here and they're in the conscious community and they're in the Orisha community, but you got to ask them what they're doing, and you got to watch them and see, well, what are you actually doing? And you look year after year and decade after decade, and you see that's not what I'm doing. So I'm gonna let you stay over there, but this is my agenda and this is my program, and I'm looking for people who are moving in this line, not that.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing, because I'm like, I mean, you guys read all these books, but when it's time to go, but we had no problem romanticizing the pyramids.
Right.
Like if I was going to Egypt,
right,
it was one thing.
Right.
But sub-Saharan Africa, especially sub-Saharan West Africa, it was like, whoa, you taking this thing a little too far.
Dengue fever, tsetse flies, malaria, man, where are you going?
Yeah. All right, so as far as from an IFA perspective, like, how do you perceive the future of Pan-Africanism, especially coming from out of the West, and like in what role we're going to play in it?
I really see that the combination for us in the West, what we have is the benefit of having lived generation after generation right here in the belly of the beast. And we've gone to school, we've gone to church, we've married and had families and the whole 9 yards. We know white people in a different way,
right?
You know, and we know the limits of what good white people will do. You know, we know there are limits to what good white people will do, and where you have to accept those limits is where you start to understand. Okay, now this is my obligation. This is what I'm going to do, because there's only so far they're going to go. So I think that with that in mind, we in the West have a real duty to chart a course and set some real measurable goals for ourselves. I think that's going to be the key for us as African Americans. I think we need to just set some real clearly defined goals for ourselves. And we need to hold on to those goals. And everybody who comes into contact with us, we hold them. You need to help me achieve these goals. If you're as an Ifa practitioner, if you're my Oluwo, you're my master teacher, you're my Yalorisha, great. I respect the tradition. I'm going to follow the path. I'm going to cross my T's and dot my I's. But I need to own this block. Can you help me take control of this block? I need to own that market. My people need to own that market. Can you help my people own that market? We need this farm. We need this school. We need this bank. Like, once we start setting goals for ourselves like that, then we're going to start practicing really far. Because this is the other part of it, Dynast. Without Pan-Africanism, we're not really practicing Ifa. We're not. Because every Orisha, what does every Orisha do? Orisha don't live in shrines, brother. You know that. They don't live in shrines. Ogun don't live in a shrine. Shango don't live in a shrine. Obatala don't exist in a shrine. That's where we worship them. Ogun is a blacksmith. Ogun is a hunter. Ogun is a warrior. You find Ogun where there's fighting. Ogun is on the front line knocking heads. You want to worship Ogun? Go get on the front line. Throw some elbows and some knees. Get your shield up and hammer. That's Ogun. Build some stuff. That's where you're going to find Ogun. Ogun is an institution builder. How we got all these Orisha devotees worshiping Ogun, worshiping Ogun, worshiping Ogun, but we haven't built an institution.
Mm.
Where is an Orisha institution? North, south, east, or west? Point me to one. Point me to two. We got plenty of beads. We got plenty of roosters. We got plenty of people. You get them online, they'll be huffing and puffing and going on and on about all the stuff that they gonna do and what they Shango does and all of that. Ogun is an institution builder. Orisha Oko is Orisha a farm. Where's the farm? 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 How after decades now? Where's the farm? Where if every Orisha devotee, what about the garden? How many are we growing food? You follow what I'm saying? So when you worship Orisha, it's about doing, it's about action. But right now, what we're suffering from is the economic reality of our time. And it is in Nigeria, what you have is an economic need. People need money. And what you have in America is we got money. We got too much money. Even the poor people here got bank compared to what's happening in Nigeria. So, it becomes a recipe where that in and of itself isn't so bad. It's just that we who are the consumers are trying to buy something that can't be bought. And what we need to be doing is investing in a particular kind of an experience. Orisha can provide a particular kind of an experience of empowerment, but we got to want to invest in that. Right. As a person who has built an organization and leads people and takes people from point A to point B, just getting people to get on the plane and go. They say they're going to go in September. And by the time, March rolls around, you done lost 70% of the people. And every day the attrition rate gets more and more outrageous. So what it takes to get people to agree and then follow through.
Right.
So when we start worshiping Orisha to get real commitment from people to do things, then we're going to see how Orisha really and truly manifests. But the other part, and I just, I don't mind telling it, the way I see it.
Please go ahead. Floor is yours.
We're telling people that you can have it as long as you buy it, then nobody is tripping. Because this guy gets to get paid, and the person who's buying stuff gets to feel like I am something. I haven't done anything. I haven't changed my lifestyle in one way at all. Nothing is different to this year, next year, the year after. Nothing is changing in my life. I'm not progressing in any way, shape, or form. I'm not getting better. I'm not getting stronger. I'm not getting more autonomous. But I got stuff. So I can think about it. And as far as I'm concerned, that's whack. I don't have any interest in that. I reject it. I shun it. And I discourage my people from participating in that in any way, shape, or form, because I find it as a disrespect to my ancestors.
Absolutely. Guys, hit the like button again. Please hit the like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure, and make sure you subscribe. Link is in the chat room. Please click on the link to join the conversation. I see brother Dosunmu in the chat. Dosunmu, you want to add to the conversation?
Oh man, I'm just soaking in the information, man. Weeks people listen.
Okay. All right. Cool. BD, do me a favor. Turn your camera on so I can see who you are, because I don't know you. And then once I verify, you can turn your camera back off. BD in the chat room. I mean, in the waiting room. Well, guys, links in the chat room. Just click on the link. Just click on the link if you want to call in. BD, if you want to call in, you need to click on that link. I mean, you need to turn your camera on. Okay, no worries. Just kick the studio. Okay. All right, guys. Links in the chat room. If you want to call in, please click on the link. Tell everyone about your project in Abeokuta.
Oh yes, this is the latest, greatest development. We are building the Abeokuta campus. This is going to be our study abroad headquarters. So right now we have about 250 students enrolled in the School of Orisha Studies, and my program is about merit. It's about work, right? Even as becoming a devotee or a priestess, I promote learning before receipt. So you don't just give shrines. There's nobody who I just give shrines to. Everybody who has a shrine from me, they can they're aware of certain things, they know certain things, they can chant certain things, they can sing certain things, they know the ritual protocol, they can do it, so that I know when they have Orisha, it's not going to be a museum piece. They actually know how to engage with it, right? And so with that in mind, there's a point at which, number one, as a ritual specialist, you should become more proficient in the chanting and the language. And there's also a point at which you really need to see it in action. You need to see it in the cultural context. So one aspect of the Abeokuta campus is about becoming culturally immersed in the spiritual culture of Orisha. The second piece of it is about really activating your natural gifts and talents. I'm a Booker T. Washington guy.
Okay.
And so, Booker T. Washington was the one who said to us, hey, look, we just came out of 300 and some odd years of slavery. And you're looking at this as a disadvantage. But look at all the things that we know, all the things that we learn, all the things that we can do, all the things that we've mastered. If you want to build a ship, you got to go to a black man. If you want to get some shoes made, you got to go to a black man. If you want to pave a road, you got to go to a black man. Anything you want to do, you got to go to a black man. We have conquered labor. We've conquered all the work. So we get to organize and set the prices and all. That was what Booker T. Washington was trying to educate us on at that time. Well, the same thing is true right now. As an African American, you got your hands on the pulse of everything. You know how it works. And so I want to take my people over. So we have service learning projects. You go over, you take what you know, and you could just solve basic problems, right? When you think about Nigeria, waste management, recycling, sewage, um, just organizational systems on how to get things done to make them more efficient. There's so many basic things that we know. Basic nursing and medicine, basic language. There's English is the official language in Nigeria, but they're speaking a Nigerian English,
Right.
and so for to help people to become proficient in an international English. These are some things that we can do as African Americans very, very confidently and very competently. And so I want to bring people over to do service learning projects like that. And so a person would choose an area of activity where they specialize, where they have skill and interest, and be able to commit for, their tenure in the school, to keep going back year after year to build and to develop and to make a meaningful contribution to the Abeokuta Orisha community. And so it's things like that that we're looking to institutionalize for our students as a part of our education abroad program. So when you come out of the school, you have earned not only your ritual proficiency, but you will have a better understanding of what you can do and how your spiritual prowess can empower you to be an active contributor.
Al, go ahead and unmute yourself, Al.
Good evening, howdy, Dynast.
Bodhi fine.
Great. Thank you, brother. Great conversation. I really admire you. But first of all, great outfit. It really suits you. The energy is great. What do you think about I know you did touch on the Pan-Africanism. We need to stop talking a lot and act on it more. And what do you think about the Pan-African capitalism? Because what I've seen over the years, we have experimented the socialist factor of Pan-Africanism, which, in my opinion, and this is personal, it did made, we know socialism can make people lazy and, dependent, which I don't think is really a good thing in the long term. But what do you think of Pan-African capitalism in the continent? And also, Dynast, listening to this brother, what he's saying, I think we need people like him and his energy is currently in Sierra Leone, and also you, Dynast, something to talk about in terms of the Kush pandemic that we have in the country that's going on moving forward. Thank you.
Yeah. You want to take that one, Dynast, or you want me to?
No, go ahead, Obafemi. That's
for you, sir.
Because I'm so. In fact, Al, that's a great question you asked, because I've said several times, I don't think I said somebody show me where it works. I don't think the socialists leading with the socialist model in Africa when it comes to Pan-Africanism, this socialist Marxist Maoism, I don't see where it's worked. I'm for capitalism with socialism safety nets.
Right.
With socialist safety nets.
Right. Yes, sir.
So, but what's your take on it? Because when I say like, show me where it's worked, I get, because for some reason, when it comes to Pan-Africanism, it's like socialism is synonymous, Marxism is synonymous with Pan-Africanism. I'm like, listen, it's not working. Or has to show me where it's worked.
Right.
But go ahead, Baba.
I agree. I agree 100%. I think that those models, what you said about leading with capitalism with socialist safety nets, it just makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Where there's an idea of a commonwealth, and there with the commonwealth, we ensure that the things that are good for human beings are covered, and those being things like education, medicine, enrichment. Those are parts of the commonwealth that need to be preserved, because it's just good for everybody. If you're rich or not, you should have access to the forest and the beach and the river and the library and the quality education and all of that. But even IFA, right? IFA teaches us about both. IFA tells in one verse of IFA tells about the market woman, where the market woman was going and she was not succeeding, and she went to consult IFA, and they said, you're a good market woman, you got good product, and you show up on time, and you do good work, but you're not charging for a profit. You're not making a profit. That's why you're not succeeding. You need to sell your wares so that you can profit. And so she started to mark her things up so she could be prosperous.
I think every.
Can I say something right quick?
King, I'll pass it to you in a second, King. Let Baba finish his thought and let me finish mine. Baba, I think every Pan-African needs to hear what you said. For some reason, it's this. I'll call it woke is brokeism. You want to be woke, you got to be broke. Because I had a lady call me the other day. Well, I'm serious. I had a lady call me yesterday, and she was like, I saw one of your shows. I'm interested in going to Nigeria with you. And I told her, well, this is the price. These are the prices. And she threw a fit. Yeah. I thought it was about Pan-Africanism.
Yeah.
I'm like, sister, these are the prices.
Yeah.
This is my service. This is what I offer. Here's the itinerary.
Yeah.
You don't have to come with me.
Right.
But that's the price. That's how much, this is the service. This is what I offer. This is what's included.
If you want to sign up for it, this is what you sign up for. But it's going to be great.
Right. And
give you a better experience. We'll give you a better experience than, look, if you was independently trying to do this, and then it's going to be a good spiritual experience. I like that. I've actually seen that. I've been watching for years, bro. Yeah. And then the question I want to ask him, I forget it. I want you to ask a question. I'm listening.
Well, there is the Yoruba say, poverty will make your kinsman say, "Who are you again?"
Thank you.
But wealth will make even foreigners to say, "That's my kinsman."
You know what? The one thing I know about here in America, if you a rich person, you don't dress like you rich. You don't look. If you get wealthy, you don't look. It's a difference between being rich and wealthy. So you don't dress like you rich or wealthy. You dress like the way you creative are through the creator, right? So you magnify that, and now that essence goes through us and our people because we blessed them. We actually manifest that shit. Like I know I sound like I just said the same thing as a contradiction, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah, it is the absolute truth. And but you know, for us as Pan-Africanists, what the way I say that, the way I see that pan out is what Brother Dynas was saying before, is like you will see people with the accoutrements, you know, to make it look like I'm a Pan-Africanist. I got locks, I wear the medallion, I might wear a dashiki.
No, I want my
But
beads back on. My
but when it
beads,
comes,
black, red, and green. Yeah, you know what that represent. It represents us, right?
it only represents us. It only represents us if we are RBG in everything that we do. If,
Oh, red,
right,
black, and
you know what I'm
green.
saying? Like RBG, if we look at, let's say, for example, and this is where we look at capitalism. There's something called branding. Your brand.
Your
Your
brand.
brand is what people experience every single time they come in contact with you. That's your brand. What they
Thank you.
have in their mind when you're not in their presence and someone
Mm,
says your name, the first thing that comes into their mind, the first feeling that they have in their heart, that's your brand. It ain't about what you wear. It's about the energy that you
who you
evoke
are, who you
in
represent,
people
your
when you're
aura,
there or not there. And the
your
only way
aura.
you're going to create that kind of consistent energy is if what you're doing is the same no matter what. So if RBG is powerful, but when you come to my house, I can't give you water, there's no power.
Mm,
RBG is powerful, but when we're gonna go on a trip and you are not willing to invest in the trip, then it's not powerful. There's no energy there. It has to be consistent all the way across the board. That when you read, when you party, when you make money, when you work, everything you do has got to have a certain quality level. It's got to have a certain standard.
hey,
And,
brother, can
and
I ask you a
you don't,
question? May I ask you
if
a question? Those you got trees behind you, tall trees.
Well, King Genocide, you got to let him finish before you interrupt. I'm
I
trying to
apologize. No, I'm enjoying the build. I
if you
apologize.
don't meet a standard, right?
Build it.
If your standard is up or down, it's something totally different. When people, you know, from day to day or from one
Thank you.
entry to the next, then you're confusing people. And this is where, you know, I like this, like what Brother
Okay.
Danny said about being woke and broke. How is it that I'm saying that I'm woke, which means I'm wise, but my wisdom doesn't produce quality lifestyle for me?
Thank you.
It doesn't make sense. It's contradictory. I'm confusing people. And if I'm confusing people, then they don't know what decision to make. They don't know how to trust me. They don't know how to have confidence in me. And particularly for us as men, and this is another reason what I love about the Orisha tradition. As men, and when you go to Yoruba land, men run it. When you go to Yoruba land, men are the leaders.
But
When
they not the woman ain't covered up. They're not. They are. They're not. Well, I wouldn't call it a submissive thing, but they obey. Right?
it's not
They
even
obey.
about the women, it's about the men. You see what I'm saying? It's like there's just, and this is the distinction
Yes,
for us.
strong
When
men.
we say here in America, classic example. If I say men, automatically we say women. It ain't. I'm not talking about women. It has nothing to do
Yes.
with women. It has to do with men.
Women have their own
Men
place.
lead. Men sharpen men. Men improve quality. Men keep standards. Men elevate the level. Men, when you go to Yoruba land, men run the show. Men make sure that there's order in the market. Men make sure that there is food on the table. Men make sure that other men don't steal other men's belongings. Men.
You know what? And what I wanted to say, if men, because certain females get privilege, certain men get female
It's not
tendency.
about women, but you got to
No, no,
split
no.
women out.
Listen, some men get female tendency. They don't realize if us men don't do what we supposed to do for one day, it just, people will realize. But we do that shit as men.
The point that I'm trying to make is that whatever you do as a Pan-Africanist, it needs to be consistent. It needs to be orderly. It needs to be progressive. If
Yeah.
I am
Holistic
wise,
Pan-Africanism.
if
Yes.
I'm wise, if I'm a wise man,
Yes,
then
sir.
I am capable of managing my affairs. If I am a wise man, then I am able to provide for myself and my people. In order to do that, I need to have certain control over certain resources. That means certain people kick in, they contribute, they do things, but I am managing it, I am organizing it, I am making sure that it is being done in such a way that everybody on my compound, everybody under my umbrella is getting what they need to, play their part and perform their duties.
Can I say
Let me
something?
pass it to Omiola.
Okay.
No, it's not your turn yet. Let me pass it to Omiola. Go ahead, Omiola.
Thank you. Aboroboye, Baba.
Go ahead, Omiola, how are you?
I'm well, Baba. It's good to
Hey,
be here.
Omiola, there's a lot of feedback or static. I don't know if you're on your Bluetooth or it's real static.
Exit out the last that you came into. Like, say if you was on YouTube, close out the YouTube so you on the StreamYard only.
No, that's not the issue, King
Is
James.
this better? Does it
No,
sound
yeah,
better?
it's still pop. It's like a popping noise. So I don't know if you're on your Bluetooth or if you could just talk directly into the phone, that might be better. Or if you're using a headset, that it's probably the headset or the Bluetooth. But it's
No,
just
I am talking directly into my phone.
yeah,
So
it's like a crackling noise.
okay, let me just try and come in from a different device then.
Okay, no problem. All right, Cosmic, go ahead, Cosmic.
I just want to chime in on what Obafemi was talking about. And to sum it up, what he's alluding to is holistic Pan-Africanism. A perfect example of that is the Jews. Look at the American Jews, right? The way they go about it is being Jews holistically. What does that mean? They build their own institution, they have their own factories, they have their own
Right,
industries, and all that is
right,
connected to each other.
right,
So the person working here knows the family of the person working here, there is an interconnected circle. So if you want to become a Pan-Africanism, it requires us to control our own resources, control our own culture, control our own heritage, control everything that has to do with us and stems from us without no apology.
right,
So you cannot be a Pan-African and be doing business with Jewish people and giving the money you're supposed to give to your brother and you
right,
take it to the Jewish man.
right,
You get what I'm saying? If you're Pan African, you're not going to leave your own African holidays to go worship a Jewish or Irish holiday. You don't care about that.
right.
So you are African centered. So you are looking at everything from an African perspective. So now the reason why I actually came on is because I wanted to ask Obafemi a question.
Yeah.
Can you please interpret what is your own interpretation of Oturameji? Oturameji, if that is your Ogbe, like what you were born with.
Uh,
What is your own interpretation of that?
and Otuameji, in terms of just generally, what does Otuameji say?
No, like if that's your Ori, that's if that is what your Ori brought into the spirit, or
Okay,
if
okay.
that's your way, yeah.
So if you were born under Otuameji, Ifa says that it's very important that you be very careful with your words, that you are mindful of how you speak. Your words have the power to bring your family and all things together, or your words have the power to scatter everything
Life
into
and death.
the four directions. All of your words should be utterances like prayer. You talk always as though Olodumare is there, and you utter only what you want to be. You utter only what you want Olodumare to manifest. If you can manage mastering your words, then you will be able to create according to the true intention of your destiny. And this is what Otura Meji says about you being truthful. At the root of it, Otura Meji says that your words need to be truthful. You need to be honest. But when we talk about honesty and truth, it's about what our real true intention is. Otura Meji says that you would be you would benefit from supporting and being on an agreeable basis with people who practice Islam. That you should not be at variance with people who are Islamic practitioners. Otua Meji draws a lot of parallels between what we do and what the Muslim does. and
Funny because you
encourage.
said that. It's funny
Yeah,
because it's funny you said that because I've been told that I should become a Muslim, but I
yeah,
just don't have the discipline to pray 5 times a day.
yeah, yeah. I always tell people if they're born under Otua Meji that you are a Ifa practitioner, but you should be doing it um, in the way that a Muslim does it with, as a, you know, in terms of praying 5 times a day and invoking Allah and everything, like really, really being very singular minded in everything that you do, which is in very much in alignment with, I believe, the philosophy of Pan-Africanism. When what you were saying about having one mind and being African centered in everything that you do, that's what I think are the strengths of all of the Semitic traditions. One thing that we can learn from and observe from Judaism, Christianity, and Islam is how they've taken all their oral traditions, because theirs is an oral tradition too. All of them are oral traditions. They practiced it like we practice Ifa, where in one region, everybody was reciting it. Everybody was reciting it. The Torah, the Quran, and all of those things were things that were held in people's minds. But then they compiled them, they wrote them down, and then they streamlined it um, into a codified single set, that instead of you have your taboos and they have their taboos, and they keep these observances and another group keeps those observances. Now everybody keeps the same taboos. Nobody drinks alcohol. No, everybody does this on Friday. Everybody does, you know what I mean? That's kind of my simplified understanding of how those traditions have progressed. And though while I don't, necessarily recommend that for us because our tradition is different, I do think that there are points within Ifa that give us a singular point that say this is our common goal. This is our common starting point. For example, Ifa tells us that we are all Enya. All human beings, a human being in Yoruba is Enya. And
Anyhow,
Enya. Enya is one who has been chosen, right? But we are chosen by Olodumare to bring about the good condition. So when we learn that Enya means that one who has been chosen, then we get the context through Ifa Irosun Iwori that, oh, the origin of being a human being means that Olodumare chose me to bring about the good condition. So that's one point of reference that all of us can draw upon to say, oh, we come from this place. We're all Enia, and we all have the same mission: bring about the good condition. What is it that I'm doing right now that's helping to bring about the good condition? I might be coming from one angle, you're coming from a different angle. That's okay. I respect it. We don't all have to do the same thing. But can we all point to that shared goal? Like what I was saying before. Hey, our shared goal is we need a library. Everybody in our community needs to build a library. We need a pool. We need a school.
exactly.
Let me give you a simple example. And this is like a cultural example. I'm from California. And this is something I observed many times.
Oh, for real, I live
In
in Los
California,
Angeles.
you might have myself as, I got degrees and I've been working in a corporate environment and I'm a contractor and I've made this money doing this. And you know what I mean? I've got access. I got access as an African American. Then I got my contemporary, same age, Miguel. Miguel is, is an illegal alien, as they will call him. Miguel don't have degree the first. Miguel, he can speak English, but he's not really, he's not really reading and writing English. He certainly ain't writing books in English and stuff like that. But, he can function. I am working from sun up to sundown, year in and year out. I'm renting an apartment. I don't have any money saved, and if when I get old and when I'm sick, maybe one of my relatives might come. I maybe. I'm not really quite sure. Meanwhile, Miguel is surrounded by his brother, his cousin, other guys who are just not related to him at all. They're just also Mexican cats. They're gonna live together. They're gonna shop together. They're gonna drink together. They're gonna be supporting one another's mission. they each of them is sending money back to their respective little towns in Mexico or El Salvador or Nicaragua, what have you. And I look and I say, why is it that this guy is able to, after being here 10, 15 years, why is he able to buy a home and then send money back? And over the next 20 years, he's built another home back in Mexico and he's going to go back and retire there. How is that possible? Well, it's because he has a script. He has something that is binding him to an order of operations. There's in his culture, there's something that's telling him these are your expectations that must be met. And everybody else who's in his age group who comes from that area, they all know. I don't have to know the details of exactly what town you came from and how you came. I know, generally speaking, that you're here for this reason. You're in California because you came here for a better life. You're in California because you're trying to provide for your family. You're in California because you're planning to go back to Mexico at a certain time. When you retire, you want to go back home. So I can understand what you're doing and I'm on board with you. I'm going to help you and support you to the best of my ability to do what it is you need to do. What we have that is preventing us is we've assimilated to the point that we think that we don't need one another. That is why Pan-Africanism is struggling right now. Everybody who's opposing Pan-Africanism is operating under the idea that I don't really need you. I'm not really dependent upon you. I can make it without you. Even though my life is showing me that it's not happening. But I believe, I want to believe, I've been convinced that I can do this all by myself. And so that's how I treat you, like an option. But in reality, I know if you came from Nigeria or if you came from Jamaica or if you came from Ecuador, if you're a black man, I know why you're here. I know what you're up against. I know what the difficulties and the struggles that you face. My prayers for you should be the same as the prayers that are for myself because I know what you're trying to accomplish. I should be working with you. That's the basis of Pan-Africanism. It's not complex. We need to have a simple understanding of who we are, why we're here, and let each one of us take the road that's best for us to accomplish that goal.
All right, let me pass it to Omiola. Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
That's a whole lot better. Go ahead.
Yeah, very clear.
Okay, great. I have a sort of two-pronged question. As someone who has a very, very general understanding of what Pan-Africanism is, could you provide a sort of working definition? And then for someone who is approaching it from the IFA Yoruba perspective, what would be some resources, entry points like books or other figures that you would recommend that we look into?
Nice. I'm gonna give that to you, Brother Dynas.
For me, see when it comes to Pan-Africanism, I keep it simple. That's just I want to see the betterment of people of African descent all over this planet. Like I just keep it simple. I don't want to see people of African descent win without exploiting each other.
Yes.
That's pretty much what it is. If you ask me, without having to overcomplicate it and get into all these book definitions and turn it into a whole essay. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great point, Ines. I mean, unfortunately, we do have a lot of Pan-Africans, so-called Pan-Africans, that are actually exploiting one another, and by doing that, they're actually discouraging a lot of people, on the way. And these people I find to be more dangerous than people that are not interested in Pan-Africanism. But thank you, sir.
Okay, so if I may, this is what I would define on Pan-Africanism as for the sister. Pan-Africanism is the ideology that the African people deserve to have their own space, their own banks,
Yeah.
their own mores, their own fairy tales, their own ideology, their own philosophy that stems purely, truly from the essence of their Africanness.
Yeah.
So an example of that would be Chinatown. Chinatown is pan-Chinese.
Yeah.
What white people have been doing since they came to America is pan-Europeanism. What the Mexicans are doing is pan-Mexicanism, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So how would that apply today would be us, for example, owning LA. If you come to LA, you got to adhere to African cultures and African rules because guess what? We own LA. We own all the banks in LA. We own all the churches in LA. We own
Yeah.
all the economic infrastructure and all the industries in LA. We own
Yeah.
the media. We own the news. So
Yeah.
guess what? You ain't gonna be seeing no curly haired Becky on the news. You're gonna be seeing nappy headed dark skinned
Right.
sister on the news.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? You're
Right.
gonna see a brother with his locks on the news
Right.
speaking English at the same time speaking Ibanics, and there is not gonna be any problem about it.
Right.
Well, maybe capitalism isn't the model as well. Maybe we need to be thinking about more of a socialist, situation, because the nature of capitalism is to exploit labor and to own land and capital. Capital. So,
I mean, I disagree.
that's something to think about.
I disagree too. I completely disagree.
Well, I
Can I
mean
say something about that?
that is the nature of everybody can't be. There can't be a too big of a middle class in a capitalist system. Everybody can't be wealthy in a capitalist system because it won't work. It's not designed to work that way. There has to be.
Socialism hasn't worked either. Socialism hasn't worked either.
Well, I'm not saying socialism like what we know it to be, but a socialism that works for people who have a communal, come from a communal background. We come from a communal background. So whatever that looks like for us, it doesn't have to be the same socialism that has been done in the past. But I do think that because the nature of capitalism, which there has to be a proletariat and someone that is doing the less, so for you to exploit, so that there's a higher class, there's a strata in capitalism. Is all I'm saying.
Well, this is what I would say about that. I think everything in life is about balance. You can't have too much socialism and you can have too much capitalism. There are some aspects of society that, you know what, as you might call it socialism, but it is necessary. I don't think people should be paying for it. For example, free school. Free school from grade 1 to 6 or from grade 1 to 12 should be free
Right.
for the nationals.
Right.
There's no debate about that. But there are also some other aspects, like let's say the private sector, and depending on what industry, we can use capitalism for that aspect. And now, also talking about capitalism, you are looking at capitalism from the point of view of the Europeans who have nothing. How can it be a capitalist? You have no natural resources, you have nothing, you have no
Right.
culture, you have no idea, you have no
Right.
origin, anything. Capitalism won't work for you. But I, as an African who have all the natural resources,
Right.
well, I can look at capitalism from a whole totally different view.
Right.
So if you're looking at capitalism from the point of view of a European, oh yes, it's not sustainable
Right.
because he's stealing.
They're stealing everything that we call European capitalism is based on
Stealing.
hundreds and hundreds of years of theft.
You
But
you know what I'm saying? Exactly.
yeah,
Right.
but
Exploit
what
the
we
labor and,
right.
and take the resources and
Right.
that's what it is. I mean, that's what
But if
But
we but if we control if we are the owners of the resources,
we
then
are not the owners. We are not owners of anything. We are stewards.
But
right.
we
Nobody
can
owns
try
anything.
to be the owners at least, and also socialism is a thing in the continent that's been experimented by previous leaders in the past. It has failed, right?
Yeah.
And as the brother was explaining to you earlier, in fact, if you go back to our history, like in Mali, we look at Mali Empire, which is one of the greatest empire we had, which we are still struggling to get to that level as is in these times that we're living in. We actually, the Mali Empire wasn't a socialist empire; it was a capitalist empire. Look at it in that form, right? It was successful because they managed to create trade routes. The downfall of Mali Empire was infighting, from the Mosi, the south, which is a which was our own black people in the south of where Burkina Faso is today. And also we had, obviously a leader that was quite weak. He actually built enough wealth, but he did not build enough security to protect it,
Right.
and this was a problem. So if you look at the history of our continent, we've always been capitalist, so bringing socialism into the continent thinking is a way forward is actually quite delusional.
Well,
Right.
actually, and it doesn't have to look like, what the Soviet Union is doing or was doing or is doing. But the point is that, even the United States is not a purely capitalist country. There's a lot of socialism that goes on in
Exactly.
in the United States. So it's not a totally capitalist system. But balance, you
Exactly.
mentioned something that I wanted to touch on, which is that even though men run the institutions, men lead the institutions, the principle of female is crucial and important, and it reminds me of the story of Oshun when God sent the deities to make the world, and they left Oshun out, and they couldn't complete the job. So Eshu went back to God and said, God, they're not doing the job right. And I'm story kind of a little bit loose, but
Yeah, I know the
basically.
story.
Yeah, basically, they had to ask Oshun. They had to ask her, and she said, "Don't let it happen again," which is very interesting. To come back and be part of the world. So, in that sense, there has to be a balance with the male and female in different decision making things that happen in our societies. I think that's something that is missing. Even though men do lead and carry out a lot of the things. One of the things my professor said, Obafemi said that in the first civilizations, the Twa civilizations, that the men and women were involved in every decision-making aspect of life, that with regards to all the important things in life. The men and women were involved in that. And so he uses them as a model in which it is one of the more healthier models of African culture,
For,
the Twa.
for example, let me chime in a little bit. For example, in the Yoruba culture, the women run the market.
Right.
The women are the economic powerhouse of the society. So if you go into the market or anything that has to do with money in the Yoruba culture, you have to go to the woman,
Right.
right? Another example is in Yoruba culture, the king must not see the women of the society naked. So
Right.
oftentimes, when the women are displeased by the way the king is running the society, they go naked. Excuse me, they naked themselves and they go to the king's palace, and the king has to run because there's a spiritual thing tied to that.
Yes.
So but women in
Spiritual
Yoruba
protest.
society, right, and women, in Yoruba society also know the masculine principle. They understand the job and the process of the masculine principle, so they often do not fight or contend with the masculine principle, just
Right.
like in Yoruba land, you will not find the men contending with the feminine principle.
Right.
But there's also intersectionality where both of them have to join in and say, okay, we have to do this together. Because
Right.
when they are running the market in Yoruba culture, the man do not interfere with it
Right.
because men believe that the women are capable enough to run the economics of the society. Now,
Right.
when it comes to war or commerce or things like that, that's masculine, the women they might chime in and give their own opinion. You see, I think oftentimes the problem is that it's not that men do not like women giving them advice. It's just the way women give advice.
Right.
It's
Right.
the way they say it, it's the way they come across, it's the way they approach it. You get
Right.
what I'm saying? But in Yoruba
Right.
culture, the woman is a very, 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 very vital force in the community. So, and and I also think that this is also has to do with knowledge, because we also have to understand that each man and woman has four principles in them. We have the answer in us. For the man, he has the answer. He has the nurturer in him. He has the eagle in him, and he also has the warrior in him. And for example, when you get into your house, when you get into your home where your wife and the children is, you are not going to use your warrior energy in your house.
Right.
You have to put that back and bring out the nurturer in you.
Right.
When you go out to go get your 9 to 5,
Right.
you are bringing out your hunter and your warrior energy.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And it's the same
Right.
thing for a woman. There's the treasure chest, There's there's the nurturer in her. No, there's the
Right.
mother in her. There's the
Right.
I forgot the other two principles, which dictates the environment dictates what she's going to bring out. So that is why all these 50-50 niggas, for example, you get what I'm saying? You're saying you want to be 50-50, 50-50 with your woman, and still expect her to bring out the mother and the whore in her.
Right.
No, it's
So
not
what went
possible.
wrong? What went wrong with today's, you look at Yoruba land now, which is part of a country, right? And even though there are many ethnic groups that make up Nigeria, if you were to just take, if Oduduwa Nation was to be on its own, it would probably be a microcosm of what's going on currently. People would have to change their ways of doing things if they're going to do something that is going to make it work like it needs to work. But I'm saying what has gone wrong, and not just Nigeria as the country, with many ethnic groups all over Africa. And we have to begin to ask the question about
When you
all of
say what has
these
gone wrong, as in
foundations
what has gone wrong in what, like
in
the
terms
interaction
of
between. Mhm.
okay, you ready? In terms of organization, in terms of greed, in terms of selfishness, in terms of and the men are running things. The men are running things in every aspect, from Yoruba land and Ogun State to in Lagos to the country, all over Nigeria. Men are running things.
So
Okay, so there's a development.
are you saying corruption is I would say exclusive to just men?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that men are in first position all over in the world, really, all over the world, and that could be part of the problem too. Is
Did you see the issue? I don't know if it was Thailand or whatever. The lady who
Oh, Vietnamese sentenced to death, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
She's getting a death penalty.
yeah.
Embezzled what, like, was it $25 billion?
And and they
well,
said the reason why they're
there have
killing
been
her was because
Nigerian
they
women
can't
that have
recover it.
embezzled that amount of money. But look at Rwanda. Rwanda might be an example. What's happening in Rwanda, where they in their parliament they have a large portion of their parliament are female, and it
Exactly.
seems that they're doing a good job there.
Okay, let
You
me
know?
say something, right? We're in a patriarchal system, the matrilineal system or the matriarchal, the great mother has been overthrown a long time ago, and that's the reason why we got into the age of
Boom,
crisis,
you hit it
which is
right on the nose.
the age of deception. You get what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
now we are going back into the age of matrimony. In the next 20, 30 years, women will start coming up and rising up in power. Because we're in the age of Aquarius now and everybody has information and power now. So the people who are going to be powerful in this age are people who know how to use this information. So right now, I just think that if you look at Africa's problem, we lost so many things. We have lost so many things. You see, you can't just pick up African problem from contemporary history and say, oh yeah, there it goes. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that we often don't talk about or often don't know about African history was that, you see, before that slavery started happening, one of the things that the Europeans did was kidnap a lot of African children and take them into Europe, brainwash them and brought them back into our community with guns and money and armies.
Right.
So
Right.
during that time, you see, see, the easiest thing to do is destroy. You can destroy what took 1,000 years to build. You can destroy it in one day.
That's right.
So you can expect the people, it took them 1,000 years to build a great civilization and destroy 60 years later, 100 years later, the knowledge has been lost, everything has been lost for them to just speak up.
Right.
It doesn't, because knowledge is passed down from generation to generation. Okay, imagine all the institutions in America was destroyed, all the knowledge, all the information, all the libraries, all the things that's taken hundreds of years, to find out was destroyed, it's burnt, and everything. How long do you think it would take America to recover and get back to where it used to be?
Right.
You have to go get that knowledge back. And and you have to understand that Africa, where it is intentional. For example, about a year ago, I heard that the United States government has spent almost $3 trillion on racism. So that is to say, there's an external party who is making sure that we are where we are.
And they gave Africa 50 billion, right? The AFRICOM is costing billions.
Yes.
Uh,
So,
so
so the issue is that we have leaders who don't have vision, but it is intentional.
Yes.
Yes, and also we have people that are going around. They claim to be Pan Africans, that claiming racism does not exist, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and at the same time, I mean, what I think is we need to look at what works for us in the past. This is my take. The Yorubas had the Oyo Empire. These are the people who also are part of the people that rule Nigeria. The Northerners, like my people, the Fulani, they were part of the Mali Empire. They was
No,
part
no,
of the
no, 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 no,
Almoravid
no, no, no,
dynasty.
no. I disagree. No, 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 I
They was
disagree. No, no, I disagree. The Fulanis are the Umayyad
Well,
Empire.
hold on. Before we continue, Omiola, did we answer your question? I'm sorry, Omiola.
Yes, you answered the question. I did ask if there were any
I
particular
can give you a book
figures.
to read. I
Yeah,
give you
I
on
would
the email. I
appreciate
can send
that.
you a PDF book to read on Pan Africanism if
Well,
you want. If you are
just tell her,
interested.
tell her the book.
It's called. Hold on.
I'm a firm believer in this book right here. Hold on, let me turn my camera on. This book, it's Booker T. Washington, The Making of a Pan Africanist by Tyree Wright. Omiola,
Thank you.
if you can see that.
I can. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So
yeah.
that's a book. Yeah.
Yeah,
BD, are
we
you
had
there? BD.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Prince Kushe, howdy, buddy.
Oh, the body fine.
the body
Okay, howdy, buddy,
finance.
go. Okay. Obafemi o, aboru aboye o,
Aboy aboshishe.
abosise mo fori bare o, babo agbori regun.
Okay.
So basically, I just got it's like maybe a 3 or 4 prong question for you, real quick.
Okay.
So basically, and it's on the aspect of the Pan-Africanism from an IFA perspective. So right now, this how I want to know, in your opinion, how can we eliminate the trend of that's like an exploitative babalawos in the diaspora who's treating IFA like a McDonald's menu. Like you go to a babalawo and everything is hand of IFA $500, warriors $700, Ocha $2,000-$3,000. Everything is like a price whereas in the olden days, I'm Yoruba by myself, and my family, excuse me, my family told me in the olden days, if you go to a babalawo and you didn't have the money for the work he was going to do, you will give a solemn promise to him that as soon as the work starts taking effect and you see positive changes in your life, you'll come back later and give the tribute that you owe him.
And BD, the problem is I just that level of honorability, I just for that person to actually come back and give what's owed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it's like the Babalaos will have to take a risk on that. So I just think I think there has to be a balance in, as long as now I've seen Babalaos like 5,000 to 10,000, just crazy amount of money. But as far as I ain't got the money, I hit you back later. I just think there just needs to be a negotiation to where both sides are happy, because I'm sorry, you just our people, the chances of that person coming back and paying what's owed, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to the Babalao.
I agree with you, but if the Babalao himself is powerful and his spirits work, that person will come back, because if that person doesn't come back, he's gonna suffer repercussions negatively.
Let me hold that. I know you had a 3-pronged question. Let me answer that part, and then I want to hear the other parts, because this is I think a great question. I think that the number one thing is we're never going to be able to address the babalawo selling things side. They're going to sell things. What we can control is our people buying things side. This is where I push back. I push back on my people. Stop buying stuff. If you're not buying, they're not selling. If you're not buying, they're not selling. You are paying these ridiculous amounts of money because you go in there trying to buy things that you can't buy. You need to get into what you're actually trying to experience. What is it that you really are after? You say you got this problem, but you know what? 80% of your problems come from that white man. 80% of your problems, they don't even come from the white man. They come from the fact that you won't confront that white man. 80% of your problems come from the fact that you're so chicken shit and scared of this white boy that you won't do nothing for yourself. You won't solve none of your problems. You wait for your white daddy to do everything, and then if he don't do it, then you go begging and complaining and crying and carrying on. Solve your own problems. When you start solving your own problems, everything is going to change. Your whole perspective is going to change. That's number one. Your problems are not going to be solved by you buying stuff. Your problems are going to be solved from you rolling up your sleeves, finding out what needs to be done, doing it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you're sick, if you're healthy, if your wife is taking care of you, if your wife don't give you time of day, if your friends are with you or your friends ain't with you, if you getting up and you're about that business all day, every day, you're going to solve your problem. That's number one. That's why I keep coming back to the men. If you are a man and you with men, other men is going to give it to you and say, no, bro, get yourself up and pull yourself up. Stand over here next to me. I'll help you. You need a quarter, I'll give you a quarter. You need a hammer, I'll give you a hammer. But we're going to get it done. That's number one. Babalawo is not going to solve your problem. You are going to solve your problem. That's number one. You were born with your problem and your solution. Your Ori, your destiny, what you chose all the solutions to your problems. You chose all the resources that you need to solve your problems. Do you have the courage and the faith to seek the solutions that you chose in the beginning or not? Don't come to me and say that I'm supposed to solve all your problems and do it for free. No. No. So that's the answer to the first question.
Okay, thank you for that. The second question kind of ping pongs on the last question about this exploitative babalawos that's as a little trend in the diaspora now. Like there's some Omoawo that have like been initiated for years and years and years, and they don't really know anything about their Odu, or like they can't even speak Yoruba fluently. How do we make their Oluwos teach them in a way where they're progressing and they're seeing progress in that aspect? That's two. And then I have one more after you answer that.
Good question. 90% of the Omoawo don't want to know nothing. They didn't come to learn. 90% of them are not Omoawo in the first place. The overwhelming majority of these people who have IFA, you got it because somebody sold it to you, and they sold it to you because you wanted to buy it. You're not an IFA devotee. You should have just made a sacrifice. You're not a babalawo. There's nothing babalawo about you. There's not a priestly bone in your body. You wouldn't pray for somebody to save your life. You don't have no care for the well-being of other people. You're not a babalawo. But you came and you had the money and you begged and you blah, 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 and you bought it. That's the bottom line truth of the matter. An overwhelming majority of the folks are not IFA devotees. So you got something because you paid for it. Now you pay for it and you don't want to learn the part, because being an IFA devotee and being a babalawo, hey man, that's a whole different category of the society. If you were a babalawo, you would have been studying something else. If you're a babalawo, you would be solving other people's problems. You'd be healing people. You'd be uplifting people, whether you know your Odu or not. So the majority of the people, they don't. You hustled yourself. That's the answer. So whoever is asking those questions or wherever those questions are coming from, I'm going to tell you, you hustled yourself. It's not the babalawo. That babalawo or whatever he said he was, he just took advantage of the fact that you had a gang of money and you was willing to spend it fast to get what you wanted. You got it, and now you got to live with it. But if you wanted to learn, you would know. You would put in the work. And I say that from the perspective of I came along at the edge. At the edge meaning there was no internet. If I wanted to learn Ifa, I had to go to this babalawo's house. And whatever his personality was, whatever his quirks were, whatever it was, I had to go and sit there and hang out with him all day or all week or all month for him to tell me one little thing. Now it's all day, every day. I done wrote 10 books. I got a school. I got electronic classes. Man, you can learn it any other way you can. I record it. I got videos. How many people learn it? What percentage of the people learn it? It's a minuscule percentage. That's why I'm telling you what I'm telling you with the way I'm telling it to you. We need to stop fooling ourselves. Because Ifa is associated with something, we are Americans and we're consumers. If I want to be a hot boy, I'm sexy and I'm whatever, I'm gonna get me a red convertible. I'm gonna wear this kind of clothes. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? If I buy it as an American, I feel like if I buy it, then I am it. I'm getting self-gratification through consumption. And we're treating Orisha in the same way. If I want to be rough and rugged, then I'm gonna wear some Timbs and initiate to Ogun, and now I'm ready for battle. No, you're not.
Real. He's for real. He's for real.
So
speak on it, Baba. Speak on it.
stop trying to buy stuff. Stop trying to buy stuff. Be true to you. I'm soft and tender. I'm thoughtful and intellectual. I'm creative and collaborative. That's my thing. There's a place for me in the world, and I can thrive and I can succeed. But only if I'm true to me. So the people who are not learning because they don't want to learn.
Simple.
And let it be for your health. Then, if that's the case, let it. You received it for you, and then you can have your priest make.
Question.
BD had BD. Have you finished your questions? You got another question?
Yes, I have one more question. Thank you,
Hey, by the way, Dynas, I want to say something after he's done.
No, I'm gonna pass it to Aphrodite, then I'll pass it to you, Cosmic. Go ahead, BD.
Okay, thank you. So my final question, Baba, is that so I used to have this Cuban girlfriend, and I lived with her and her family, and I noticed that everybody in her family had Orisha inside of their head. They made Osha because they had this Osusu going on where they were funding everybody to make their Ocha. So within like 1 or 2 years, everybody in the family had Ocha. Do you think it's feasible? And if so, how can we foster that same sentiment within our people to empower ourselves? So instead of us spending, some of us, we go through years and years and years trying to save the money to go through that ceremony. Instead, we can have some kind of Osusu where we fund each other so we can empower ourselves, because we all know that, putting the Orisha in your head, it increases your luck. We know that. So how can we, if that's possible, if that's feasible, what do you think we can do to foster that sentiment? That's my question, Baba. Thank you.
Wonderful question. I love your inquiries. And I think that if the very first thing is on the Cuban side, that works in terms of, everybody receiving Ocha. That's the way their system is set up. I've never known a time in Yoruba land where everybody was initiated. I've never heard of a time in Yoruba land when everyone on the compound was initiated. You was born into it. If your father's compound was an Oshun compound, then you are an Oshun devotee.
Exactly.
And when you practice Oshun, you participate in they're doing the Ose Oshun. You can go in there and you can pray and you can give Obi with your mother and whoever's throwing Obi. When Oshun festival comes, you go there and you do the prayers and they'll cast and everything will be said, and they say you need to do this and you need to use this Akose. You could go and do it by your birthright. So I don't know of a system in Yoruba land where everybody needs to be initiated. That's the first thing. So I want to really make that distinction, which is why I say what I say. Everybody doesn't need to be initiated. As far as Isheshe is concerned, I don't know any instance wherein Isheshe says everybody in Yoruba land has ever been initiated. So the real goal is, how do we create a society wherein people have enough purpose, enough sense of identity, enough sense of autonomy and sense of purpose and direction, that you're on your mission and you are acutely aware of your personal limitations, and so now you're open and receptive to the support of the divinities. You're open to the support of the ancestors. Why? Because you know what you can do by the strength of your back. You know how much your own mind can do. You know what your network can support. You're putting yourself to the test all day, every day. You hitting it every single day. The thing that I see with us too much is we not bringing it every single day. We not going hard in the paint every single day. We're not gassing it out fully every day. We just going kind of hard. And then if I get a little tired, I'm going to stop. If I get a little discouraged, I'm going to stop.
if they start talking about me a little bit, I'ma stop. If I think it's gonna win me some disfavor for them over there, I'm not gonna say nothing. If I think that they don't like it, I'm just gonna wait. No, that's not how you're gonna fulfill your destiny. You got to go crazy, man. You got to go to the full edge of your capabilities. And you got to stay at the edge of your capabilities. You got to live on the edge of your capabilities. And you got to demand that everybody around you is going to the edge of their capabilities, not just one time, all day, every day. Make that your lifestyle, make that your reality, because that's how you're going to learn your limitations. You're going to know exactly how far you can go. That's when you start praying. Hey, I know what I can do and I know what I can't do. Now I'm opening. When Ifa tells me to sit down and shut up, I'm going to sit down and shut up because I know that there's nothing else that I can do.
I'll say.
Thank you, Baba. Mofodi Bale.
Go see what
Thank you, Dynast.
No problem, no problem. Afridamus, go ahead, Afridamus, unmute yourself.
Oh, all right. Thank you for having me. I'm gonna. Can I bring a different perspective on what I've heard?
Go ahead.
So, the future of Pan-Africanism. What I think about it. Are we talking including Africa? Like I'm talking the continent itself.
Absolutely.
Add it on. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Africa. You can't have Pan-Africanism without.
Yes.
I mean,
all right. So then I'm gonna bring some facts and reality, not fantasy. To talk about Pan-Africanism, it's not gonna work in Africa. The biggest thing is we have to look at culture, means of production, and where the African mindset is. And as far as identity, I see this all across the board, traveling around the world where Africans are. There's an issue with the culture. We cannot ignore that. It seems like corruption is inherent, is endemic. People exploit one another. It seems like that's the basis of the African culture. When they talk about this spirituality, it's like some people elevating themselves so they can exploit others. You see, because I notice when I travel around, there's nowhere, I haven't read books anywhere where other people, copy anything that is progressive that Africans practice. It's nowhere in the world. Some people like to go back to say, oh, how we were back in the days. Even if we go 500 years back or less than that, there is no way anybody on this panel can say there is anything we can copy from how those Africans lived. Let's not forget, these people sold human beings for tokens. There's no means of production. We talk about our resources. Africans have the resources under our feet. We don't have any means of production. We don't even have the mindset to do it. You see? So we have to talk about production. How can we get Africans to be productive? The continent is has the least productive people in the world. We can't lie about that. Most places can barely feed themselves when they have fertile land. So, which is like the basic means, right? And I heard like Earl mentioned like the Fulani, like mentioning the Fulanis. We cannot copy the Fulanis, These were the biggest slave traders. We cannot copy them. It was a nomadic tribe. They go around, they, attack people, they steal from them. We cannot copy them, Even today, you go around in West Africa, just go to West Africa. Africans are exploiting Africans. You come here in the West, me being an immigrant before, like you come
we
from
can't
America.
learn things from each other?
No, we can learn things. Yeah. I know we can learn things, but we would have to leave out the negative things that brought Africa to its knees. Yeah. We have to leave that out. If we are talking about mentioning the Mali Empire, this was slave-based empires. What's there to learn?
They were doing second year math, college degree math, and they found text in Timbuktu. This is what they learned.
These people were learning Arabic. They don't have,
no.
sir.
Before Mansa Musa came, the University of Sankore existed before Mansa Musa came and
No.
instituted
Exactly. Academics
Islam
is just
in the
talking what
university.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Can I respond
You
to
had,
that, please?
but you see, that's why I was like, I just
Let
gave you guys
academics finish.
I just let you guys know,
Let him finish,
I'll
please,
bring
bro.
a
Let him finish.
different perspective.
Yeah, that's true. Let him finish.
So you have before Mansa Musa, you have Sunjata, who was the founder of the Mali Empire, right? He was not a Muslim, but he had Muslim clerics that were writing for him, that were writing for him. Most of their stuff was based in African spirituality, some would say juju and all that, right? I just want to ask the question, how can this be applied? Because it's still in existence in Africa. How can these things be applied?
Let me tell you.
And I didn't finish, sir. Let me ask the question.
Let him finish.
How can these things be applied today
rhetorical
to improve, to help improve
right
the awakening the African, to help the African be creative, help the African be a competitive force in the world instead of just begging and praying. And also I heard people talking about, oh, the women run the place. Name one society in history ever that became great and was run by women. And I would mute my mic.
Can I?
One
It's
mic.
my turn.
Hold
Though.
on. One mic. Let Obafemi address it, and then.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead, Obafemi.
I love this. Listen, you know what? When you get a bunch of smart brothers together, this is, you get a treat. You get a treat. I think that the very simple answer though is we need some well-defined, simple goals. That say, for example, we all agree. Now, when we talk about Pan-Africanism, we're not going to be able to say that every country in the continent, every country in the diaspora, everybody is going to follow these marching orders, right? Because we don't have the means to enforce that. We can't require. We don't have the things that would require our people to fall in line like that. So that's not realistic. But I do
Because he
think
doesn't know European history.
I think that your question still is legit and valid on a local basis. We do have the capacity to empower one another to say that these are our local goals. These are our local objectives. These are what we all need in this region, in this state, in this town. That is the very beginning. If we can accomplish that, then we have the proof for what works in one place may work in another place. But that is reasonable just within our lifetime. I think beyond that, you're right. We're starting to it starts to become fanciful. It starts to get very futuristic. But practically speaking, I do believe that it's possible for us to set local goals and us to reach those local goals and provide the kind of proof and evidence for us to build and grow and increase more confidence in ourselves and one another. And the last thing I want to say is that because what we have as a scar within our minds is we don't have a strong sense of confidence in ourselves. One of the effects of colonization is that I, as a black man in particular, I'm gonna just keep coming back to men because I'm a man. One thing that as a black man that I know is that my impulse, my nature, my raw, unfiltered self is one way, but in all the times that I want to express that, I get penalized, I get punished, I get discouraged, I get ostracized, I get stigmatized. I am a problem when I'm raw, uncut, and unfiltered. So I, as a black man, I'm going to just speak for myself. I am apprehensive. I don't have quite enough confidence in my raw, natural self. I'm second guessing my raw self. The thing that just comes naturally to me that I just think is the most normal thing to do, I got to second guess it. I got to think, is that right? Is that okay? Is that acceptable? So what I need is to practice tapping into that raw, essential part of myself, execute, so I have more confidence in me, so that I have more belief in me. And then the more easily I can recognize the validity of my raw impulses and my nature and my capacity to lead, then I'm able to see it in the next brother. And I can see it in the next brother. And I can see it in the next brother. And then I can start collaborating with these brothers. And then we can start setting collective and shared agendas together. But it begins with a local, personal acceptance of what you can do and what is your real desired outcome.
Okay. In response, direct
well
one second.
said, Baba.
In response to
I'm gonna pass it to Shah, then I'll pass it to is that you
Cosmic?
talking now, or is that Cosmic talking?
Cosmic, I'm
that
gonna,
was me, but I will come after. Sorry.
All right, go ahead, Shah.
That was well said, Baba. Deep insight. Thank you for sharing that, and I love to see your development. I'm very pleased and feel more and more bright about
I'm doing all right.
our
I hope it's
future
not too cold for you today.
and what you're doing, and it's good, man. It's good to see that you're grounded firmly. It's hard to even say you're I'm hitting my fist on the table. You're grounded in Ifa and the wisdom of Ifa. So that was the just had to come out and say that. And everything that you said, I can agree with it. And I think that Black men are often, we're kind of stifled and shunned in terms of being in our natural self. And we've got to move that up. So I'm with that, definitely. But I want to respond to the other brother about what is the importance of our spiritual traditions, right? And what comes to mind, I've been saying this lately, is that quantum physics is the Western world's way of actually going into the next level of their ability to deal with science and quantum mechanics. What is it? Entanglement and the string theory. But anyway, these as you get deep into these concepts, into this science, it starts to really explain the spiritual world. And it will be, this is a lot of my brothers and sisters who poo Ifa and African spirituality. And the first thing they always want to say is, if it was so good, why didn't it save us? Right? And then I was thinking about that today earlier. If physics is so good, or if math is so good, why is the world in the condition that it's in today?
Good
right? What have they done with science, where they've been able to take and split an atom and make bombs with it? If science is so good, why are we in the condition that we're in today? But I will say this to my brother, that it will be a white boy that's going to come around and start talking about quantum mechanics and dark spirits and dark energy and all of this stuff. And then we'll go, oh, wow, that's just like what we've been doing for thousands of years.
Shah, let me interject.
Go ahead.
These white boys in the occult, they're buying books. Hey, Cosby, I gotta beat you, man. You just got a bunch of side conversations going on. All right, so Shah, these white boys in the occult, they're buying up all these books. They're studying Yoruba, they're studying Voodoo, they're studying Ifa, and they're tapping in. So you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, and when I was doing my little research the other night on this guy Gottfried Leibniz in Germany in the 1700s, he was started off as a lawyer, then got involved in math when he went to a university in France called Angers or something like that. Angers, I think. He also studied theology. He studied metaphysics, and all of those things are not brought out. He's mostly known to be the father of calculus and base 2 mathematics. And this is Obafemi. I don't know if you've heard this, but this brother Shango Day, brother in Houston, told this group, he was lecturing to his students, and he said that this Portuguese priest, diviner, gave this information, taught this information to Gottfried Leibniz E5 divination, which is where he got base 2 mathematics from. And this is, you know, so they've been studying our stuff for a very long time. That's the 1700s. Right. And they and these people in CERN and other linear accelerators all over the world, they're also, you know, studying the occult, you know, so-called occult, and have been, along with the physical sciences. And it gives them an edge. Just some of their inspiration, they would never admit this, is coming out of studying our traditions.
Yeah.
Facts. All right. Let me pass the Al. Then I'm gonna pass it to Dio. Go ahead, Al. Then I'll pass it to Dio.
Yes, my brother Dynas. First of all, Afrodemus, I understand. Yes, there are loads of tribes in Africa that was involved in slavery. It's an irony how you just came up in the air, you just pick on one tribe. And when I said some African brothers, some Pan-African actually are going on preaching racism does not exist, I did not mention you. But obviously, for some reason, you take that personal. I'll leave that up to you. I think, you know, sometimes you have great topic. I come on your platform and I put, I don't back talk. If I had anything to say about you, I would say it to you directly, not behind the back. I'm not that kind of man, as you know by now. But first of all, the Fulani did not build an empire based on slavery. You know, if we come to that, you know, everybody know the Ghana Empire was the biggest slave trader to the Arabs, where the trans-Sahara slavery was the biggest crime in Africa when it comes to slavery. And the Fulani wasn't the owners of the Ghana Empire, but the Soninke. I did not come here and say that, to make that clear. I did not say the Mali Empire is the only great solution to the future of Africa. However, you know, it was the last successful empire that we had. We can actually claim on, because sometimes you need to understand, you know, where you fell, how you actually, for example, if, for example, we go back to the Mali Empire, you know, and see and learn from how the empire fell and learn from that to move on in the future. Yeah, because the empire was quite wealthy, you know, we probably wouldn't be where we are today, right? And I can see, as a, you know, me and you, we know our tribes very well, we know our history very well. I can understand why you're not a big fan of the Mali Empire, you know, for the historical reasons, right? And we do not steal from anybody. You came from Sierra Leone in Kono district, the town where you grew up in Kono district. You know, the biggest school owners in that town that was exploited than any city or any town in Sierra Leone, probably in West Africa by foreigners. The biggest educators, the biggest spenders in terms of education, they were full of people, right? But you did not mention that. You actually have a different agenda that you just came up on. You know, you got a bit angry, right? So we should put emotion aside. These are this problem that we have in Africa. If we do not put tribal difference aside and emotions aside, yeah, and try to move forward, yeah, how can we get anywhere, in the future? How can we do anything? Because we basically, we are not learning from past. This is a great example of what the brother that is a host on this show is talking about. Afrodemus.
All right, let me pass the Deo. Deo, unmute yourself.
Hey, Dynas, don't forget about me.
Okay, Deo, unmute yourself.
Oh, okay. Aboro aboye baba. Yeah. It's your student Dio, and hey, nice to meet you, Dynas. What I would just like to speak on is this idea that as Africans we do not have. There's nothing in our past that we can share or give to the world. Um, I'm an engineer, right? And after many years, we're coming to find out that all of these technologies that the white man has brought to the world is destroying the very earth that we do need to to live. Whether it's from making HVAC systems, the liquid that is used in it is destroying the atmosphere. Whether it is wearing deodorant, we've come to find that the holes in the ozone, most of the chemicals that is causing that is based on some of the deodorants and perfumes that we wear. So from something very tiny to something huge, like all of these huge systems, and they're the things that are destroying the very earth that we live on. So if the white man was so great and is so technologically advanced, There's a reason why they're paying 50,000, 100,000 to come to Africa to kill our animals and all this thing. So Africa does have something to give to the world. I would never buy into this idea that Africa and its past has absolutely nothing to give to the world. When he mentioned, he was
Thank
talking
you,
about
thank you, thank you.
we're all thieves and criminals. Growing up, my uncles would tell me, I grew up in Nigeria. They would tell me that there were parts of Nigeria where they grew up in the villages where you could leave things that you bought in the market and leave it there and come back and see it, and no one will steal it. Even me growing up, when people stole on the road, they will sing and sing songs, chases people down. They will publicly shame thieves.
Ole Ajibode, Ole Ajibode.
Ajibole, Ole. They will publicly shame thieves. So to come back and say, oh, they're all criminals, they're all trying to steal, it's easy to forget some of the mindsets that these white people have brainwashed us with to believe that we do not have anything to give to the world. Something as little as a chewing stick that when I was growing up, we thought, oh, that's bullshit. That's for people in the village that do that. They started packaging chewing sticks to brush their teeth and clean it. Their teeth, if you look at it from back in the day, was brown, black, and dirty. So now it's like, oh no, it's you guys that are dirty, and we just accept it. Yes, 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 we're the dirty ones. We have absolutely nothing to give.
Right.
It's do not allow yourself to believe in that lie. I think one of the other things that we struggle with is we feel like we're not perfect until we have all of these technological advancements, and is why I'm speaking on these
Exactly.
technological advancements. You don't become perfect the moment that you build a beautiful 8-lane highway that connects all of Africa. That is not. We've come to find that those are the same things. These things is exactly what is destroying the world. You don't become
Exactly.
technologically advanced the moment that you have internet and WhatsApp and all these things. Oh,
Right.
if you don't have these things, you guys are living backwards and you're ashamed.
Right.
This is the same.
We define what civilization means to us.
Right.
Right.
You cannot, if you try to
Thank
play
you.
out of a white guy's playbook, you're going to lose.
Right.
All these things that you're seeing is basically the ultimate sell in the world to get you to come out of your Africanness to join into the system. And then once you do that, they got you. It's the
Yep.
same way that the Nigerian kids play fraud on the Americans. You
Yep.
send me $2 million and I'll be able to. I'm a prince from Nigeria. I have 20 million. But once you send me your 200,000, I'll be able to get this money out and give you this thing. It is greed. You use greed to get people. So when they convince you that everything that you have is not good enough, you will sell everything that you have,
Yeah.
trying to get what they have, and then you lose.
Yeah.
You lose. Trust me. I don't. I'm not one to tell you that everything that we Africans do is absolutely perfect. We all have issues, right? And these people, they came there and they took their time to study us. They've been coming to Africa since
100,
40 years.
200 years.
Yeah.
Yes, they came.
They couldn't beat us. The Portuguese couldn't beat us with their navies.
Right.
So 200
So
years later, they came in as traders.
right. So this guys came. They studied. What do they like? Oh, they like dressing good. They like looking good. That's one of their things. Okay,
They are very
I know.
spiritual.
Yeah, they're very spiritual. First, the strongest thing that we had was our spirituality. They had to break that. And now we have black people really believing that they're better Christians than the white people that brought it to them.
Right.
It's the same thing as a Nigerian trying to believe that there's a white guy somewhere that can learn African spirituality better than a black man ever will be able to learn it. Like
Right.
you would never think that there's a white boy that can teach you African spirituality better than you know it, even as an African American. So why in the world do we walk around saying we are better Christians than they ever will be, or we know their God better than we can? We cannot win this coming out of their playbook. Their playbook was designed to hold us back. Like, they go everywhere doing it's the same game everywhere, everywhere. But they've studied the African enough to understand, like these guys, we have to take away their spirituality. They want to be They want to drive a nice car. Okay, I'm not to get that nice car from you. And they've put systems in place. They've put the biggest thugs, the biggest criminals in positions of power in Africa. Take when NSARS was happening. The youth in Nigeria got up and started fighting these people. Somehow military came and started shooting at these kids and killed all of them. Till today, no freaking person has been held responsible for the deaths of all of those Nigerian children that died. Are you telling me that those people that died were coming to steal money to? No. The white man knows exactly what to put in place of power so that they can control how the game is being played. If today all Africans decided we're not going to give any white person any visa anymore and they can't come here anymore, they will come with the military force of the earth to destroy any human being that will say this.
Like they're
So,
trying to do in Burkina Faso and Niger and Mali and Senegal right now. That is
right,
literally playing out in our front. It's literally playing out in our front right now.
this guys, if you believe for a single second that our culture has nothing to give to the world, first of all, that is the biggest lie. My dad was a pastor. I thought I knew a lot about Christianity. I didn't find myself until I came to African spirituality. And I thank God I didn't continue that way. And I find out now that some of what he knew was because of the African spirituality background that he had growing up. So in all of the Christianity and all of this stuff that we do that we think, oh, now we are now powerful, the reason why we've thrived is because even within all of these other people's religions that we practiced, thank God we have ancestors that are not like their God that they teach us about, that are jealous. Thank God we have ancestors that are mature enough to say they're just going through something right now. I can still help them in spite of. So even if you're saying in the name of Jesus, in the name of, I'll still bless my child because that's my child. But I'm not going to be a petty person to say, oh, you said Allah. Oh, okay, I got you. I'm going to make you suffer. Thank God you don't have ancestors like that. So do not believe for a single second. That's all I'll just tell you. You know, it might seem like, oh, Africa is so behind and all of this. Do not buy into that idea that until we are European or until we have the same standards as America, then we are not complete. Even in the freaking America, do they give us, the black people, a chance to build these things? We don't engineer these systems. They just put us to build them. This the design, you go
Build
build it.
them or work it to make it profitable. That's
Right.
your job.
You learn how to work in these systems. You're not engineering the system. So the hard work that we're faced with now is how do you build a system? A system, not a
That your
single
pause
thing.
right there.
Yes.
That your pause right there. If it was so easy to build a system, to build a nation, the European wouldn't have came to Africa to come and take your ancestors, come and build it for him. He would have built it himself.
Right. No. What I mean by this
No,
system
I'm
that I'm,
talking to Afrodamus. I'm talking to Afrodamus.
yeah. And what I mean by this system is
Can I get a chance to respond later?
No, hold on.
yeah,
I still
of
gotta talk
course.
to you too. I still gotta talk to you too.
Of course. I think the system that I'm speaking of is something that has effect long term. That even when we're not here, still exists. And I'm not talking about like just physical things. I'm talking about how black people are still scared, even when they decide to come out of Christianity. They still call themselves Hebrew. Why? It is the why is it Hebrew? Why is it not the Hebrews are Africans? It is always we are part of the Hebrew. If we came first, how are we them? If you understand one thing, if, if you understand one thing that the black man is the oldest person on this earth, that means if there was a God that created us, whatever we learn is probably most likely what that God knew. It's not the other way around. If let's say for example, I was a young child I'm using this as an example. It's not real, but if a man has 8 children, the 8 kids are too young, and somebody says, "Oh, you act just like your dad," and the younger kids do not get a chance to meet their dad. Where you're going to get the most accurate stories of the dad from is going to be from the oldest child.
That's right.
This is exactly true when it comes to religion also. If the black man is the oldest child, whoever knows the daddy or the creator is most likely the black child. That's why this black child, when his ancestors died, he turned to diamonds, he turned to gold, he turned to cobalt, he turned to all the things that make the rest of the world exist. But you go to where they came from, see what the ancestors turned to. This is why they cannot stop coming to Africa to come and steal everything that we've become. We stayed long enough in the ground. The pressure turned us to diamonds and all of these wonderful things. In their land, what did they turn to? Stone, wood. And that's why they cannot, the world does not exist without Africa and the lessons that is taught to the world.
My brother, the Roman Empire, all the countries in Europe, before the Romans came to Europe, these people were sleeping with the cattle. It's not me that's saying it. I go to the museum.
I mean, that's even too far. Let's go to the Dark Ages. Let's go to the Dark Ages. That's even too far.
Thank you.
Let's go to the Dark Ages. And the more the more it went into Europe, they said that I was reading a book. They said during that time in Europe, if you pick up a stone, 2 times out of 1, you're picking up sheets. They said if the king baited 1 time a year, the rest of the population cannot bait. If a king baited 2 times a year, the population is only allowed to bait only 1 time. So
let me even talk about even currently. Let's even leave back then alone. Even currently, when I go into a public restroom and I see a person walk out of the restroom that doesn't wash his hands, 9 times out of 10 is one of them. When I see somebody who has not bathed for days, it's one of them. When you go out to go eat or you're at work and they're passing out food, who's most likely to use his hands to pick up food and not have manners is one of them. So this idea that, where did I go learn that from? You might think is white people that taught me how to be neat. Absolutely not.
No.
Can I respond? Can I respond real quick?
Well, let Afrodamus respond because you guys. Hey, you're not gonna talk over me. In fact, Obafemi, do you want to add to this first because you're our
why you keep skipping me, Diners?
Oh. Go ahead, Obafemi.
I'm just no. I think that what has been said is so magnificent. There's a lot of things that I want to say, but I want to make space for the other brothers because I know they're chomping at the bit and they got a lot of brilliance in the room. So I'll hold off for a minute.
All right. So, Al, you're completely wrong. Like, what you're thinking, I'm not thinking even along those lines. It's nothing personal. I'm just stating facts. The reason why I mentioned the Fulani, because you are speaking as if it is something about them, the culture that can be emulated. So that's why I pointed that out. That doesn't mean that
I did not.
Hold on. Let me finish. It's nothing personal. I'm not even thinking along those lines. You see what I'm saying? But I know this is great. People got in their feelings. They're not answering. They haven't answered one single question I have asked. I'm a realist. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm accusing people. I look in the mirror. What I see in the mirror, that's who I go against, and that's who I need to change. You see? And you guys proved my point by saying, the Europeans were in the Dark Ages, but you don't see the Europeans sitting talking about how glorifying that, how they should go back to that. Humans need.
About Roman Greece
let me finish. Human beings, like if you are not progressing, it's either like you're regressing. That's just a fact. Go look at the condition of Africa today. I can't even believe, like, we are on the internet. This man is mentioning that how useless the internet is. Africa can use good internet. They can use electricity. We know this. We can use good roads so we can connect with one another. Africans have been completely blind of, like, Africans don't know other Africans. There's no connection. There's a reason why Africans from all over, they would even sell their child to move to these countries that, people are saying, Africa is better than. I want Africa to rise, but we have to be realistic. We cannot pretend like, we got it like that. Like, I'll give an example. My father was a diamond dealer. I used to see diamonds as a child, but I have never seen a polished diamond, the finished product, in my life until I came to the United States. Hold on. Like, Africans don't have the way or the thinking, the means on how to refine it, because just having raw material, the raw material is cheap. It's a fact. Raw material is cheap. So, again, you guys proved my point. Nobody could go back and tell me anything around the world that, whether it's through economics, means of production, that other people are saying, oh, this came from the Africans, let's emulate it. And also you talked about they came and stole people. They didn't steal them. Let's just speak facts. They were exchanging humans for alcohol, umbrellas, and horses. The Africans, they were doing
name
it.
Their names. Name their names.
But I agree. Which is in Yoruba land was very well known for this.
Name the name of the man. Name the name of the man. The Yoruba man.
Let me finish, sir. Allow me to finish. We all know the European. Few of them were coming. They did not go in the bush and catch the people. Okay, so let's just be realistic.
So are you also saying that the kings also sold their own children? Are you saying that
here's the thing. Let me say this one thing. Let me say this one thing, sir. Let me say this one thing. I hope one day Africans, we would come to a realistic point of view and accept our shortcomings, so that this curse that our ancestors put, because this is the crime of the ancestors. You cannot just sell your own people and think everything would be fine and never admit it and continue to pretend like it's a lie, they kidnap people, blah, blah, blah. Africans have to come together and accept that. No, this was wrong. The people that did this was completely wrong, and accept it, so that the curse that was put on that land can be lifted. But until then, that will not happen. This is why you guys were, going around and around, deflecting. You could not answer my question. You could not. You cannot point to one thing. Yes, Al, you talked about the Soninke. The Soninke, yes, they were part of the slave trade. They did sell to the Arabs, and I have made videos about that. So I'm not just pointing at one group and say, no, it's a collective thing. So people have to be realistic. That's all I'm saying.
When it comes to tribal, let me just say, Afrodemus, when it comes to tribal, it's the Soninke and the Fula. We were, if there's one of us, there's one of them criminal, they were both criminal together. They were allies from day one, right? Your tribe and my tribe were allies from day one. So you should be the last person that will be saying anything wrong about Fullers when it comes to those kind of things.
We have to accept reality. Let's stop trying to pretend.
I agree.
The Fulanese, in fact, in Yoruba land, they had slave market. They had, you could go to the market and buy people. That was normal there. So let's not. No. It was a big factory in Yoruba land. That's all I'm saying.
You don't know what you are talking about. You are undereducated.
All the tribes, not just Yoruba. All the tribes done it. So let's make that clear, brother. It's not only Yorubas, not only Fula, not only Soninke. Okay. Let's leave that alone. But what I'm trying to say is, Afrodemus, you grew up in Kono. Your dad was a diamond dealer, right? Your dad probably knew my family very well. The Kono district is the diamond capital of West Africa, right? All the Europeans, all the Lebanese, they came there to exploit. Now we're talking about exploitation and capitalism, right? Now, if you go to Kono district today, Afrodemus, there is two investments that remain from those diamonds. And those two investments came from two tribes. One is a Fula and one is a Mandinka. These are the two main schools that remain in that town. That town is a joke, is a shame. Everybody came and stole and left. Yeah, it's only the Fula and the Mandinka invest in Kono district in education in that town as we speak, right? So these are the people, yeah, that actually invest. This is what we're talking about, Pan-Africanism, and people that love their people. So we shouldn't be just bashing our tribe based on the history of what they did in the past. Our ancestors did so many things wrong. You know that, I know that, right?
Why do we keep forgetting that a lot of these people that were brought into our society were children who were kidnapped as kids, brought back into our society with guns and army to destroy our society. Although they look like us, they were never of us.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And also, Afrodemus, why didn't you talk about the Almoravid dynasty? Because I know the Fullers, we
The
wrote about this,
Umayyad
we talk
and the
about this.
Umayyad.
No, listen, let me just finish. You don't know about, we're not part of the Umayyad,
Sir, the
right?
Almoravids were
Almora-
Moroccans. Those were not Fullers. Don't
Yes,
even go
no,
there, sir.
okay. The Tuklo joined the Almoravid. This is a fact, right? The Tuklo Empire joined the Almoravid. Is a written fact, right? And when they joined the Almoravid, some of your people came with the Fullers to Spain. It's a written fact. I'm not making this up. It's a written fact. So I'm not saying the Moroccans are not the one that led.
How is that serving us today, sir?
No, but
Okay,
that's
let me
true.
say something. Let me say something.
It's true. Let me just respond to Afrodemo. That's true. It's not serving us today, but we can look back into the times where we were part of something that managed to go outside and educate other people and
No, they
enlighten
didn't
other people.
educate. These guys were mercenaries and slaves fighting for the Arabs. So let's not even try to close this out. These people were mercenaries. Let's just be real. These were like the modern day Boko Harams.
I disagree with
I
you.
think everybody's been
You on
right
that.
in this conversation.
You are wrong. You're wrong.
Some
You're wrong,
opposing
Afrodemo.
things in the
Can we move on
conversation.
the subject?
But we're
Can we move
going
on
to
the
have to
subject?
debate on this
Right.
another time. Maybe we
Right.
should make sure about this. I'll prove you wrong, brother.
Right.
Let's talk about solutions.
That's what the part of the solution is talking about. The problem. When you talk about the problem, then you can figure out what the solution is.
Well, let me say.
You can't just solve.
And also the Afrodemos, the Mali Empire wasn't that bad. I know. Listen, I know how you feel about the Mali Empire, brother. I know your history. I know our people, how they, how the Mali Empire became, and how people were betrayed, and the Mali Empire rose after the Ghana Empire. I understand that. Listen, I got that sentiment. I got people from your tribe in my family. I do never. You know that anyway. One time I said one thing, negative,
got a question for
and
you.
I realized we're more connected than we are not, right? But what I'm trying to say to you,
It's not about tribe. It's just about solutions. You're making this a tribal thing. I'm not thinking like that. I'm just stating facts.
You're the one that came up with the tribe. You're the one that came up with the tribe,
brother.
though. You're the one that came up with the tribe.
I got a question for the Mali brother. I got a question for you. So we heard I've heard reports from another brother from Mali that they have opened up an institution in Bamako for the study of traditional spirituality. However, the report came very strange because it says that it is an institution, brand new building, 4-story building that was they're trying to say that the government did it, but they're saying it was devoted to the study of witchcraft and occultism. They use those words.
Animism always existed in those territories.
Yeah, but
Afrodemos knows animism still exists.
But you're not going to use witchcraft. Usually, you're not going to use the word witchcraft and occultism. You're going to use traditional spirituality or traditional practices or something like that. So the brother who sent me this, I'm asking you if there was a center that was inaugurated recently within the last month in Bamako. Do you know of any?
I don't know that, but all I know is Islam is actually becoming more stronger in the West African region than they actually ever was.
So it's probably a fake. It's probably fake news then. I'm going to continue to ask about it because
since the war in the Sahel, Islam is becoming more stronger in the region. That's
but
my
Islam,
okay?
African Islam and Voodoo has always been together though. Voodoo and Islam in Africa has always been together.
That's not the point we're making.
They work in hand in hand.
And what's the reason for that type of propaganda? The reason for that type of propaganda is to create a rift probably between with the traditional Islam practice and the traditionalists, and so to create this story is to stir up problems between those two. I mean, there's other things going on that make the government look like it.
My brother, I think there's a factor because those in northern Mali, like the Aswad, they obviously are totally against our type of Islam that we practice in the Middle Belt or the South Pacific.
That's a whole
maybe
nother.
Maybe they're trying to create a rift. Maybe they're trying to create a rift. But as far as I'm concerned, Islam, the black Islam that we practice is spreading, is actually getting stronger in the West African region. You know, I noticed that's a trend. Even though we
It's
have
called
this military
Malikism.
leaders,
Malikism.
yes, thank you. And
Let us
even
hope
the military leaders, military leaders, they can see it out of their hand. They cannot control that, so they actually are buying into that movement also.
But
Just to
there
let
are
you guys know.
traditionalists like the Dogon. There are other groups other than just the Dogon that are traditionalists and that
Well,
actually
unfortunately,
fled
this
the
board,
area of Guinea area, southern Guinea, to the Bandagari Cliffs because they were trying to escape Islam and being forced to, practice it. Whereas other people voluntarily took it because of trade. We know that. But the damage that Islam has, not even Islam, the damage that the Arabic mentality, right? The Arab mentality that comes along with Islam has created a lot of problems for West Africa. Not the religion itself, but
yes, Afrodemus, unfortunately, our people are to blame for this. You know, we cannot just pick on tribe. Our people are to blame for this because, these things, this religion came to the hand of our people. You know, the Fula, the Soninke, and the Malay. These are still the powerful group, and the Bambara. These are the still powerful group in West Africa. We cannot shy
but
away from that.
it
It's
was
so
a
powerful that they still
disservice.
worship him in Nigeria itself. In Nigeria, the Islamic State in Nigeria,
Yeah,
Ali
but
Bambara is very
But
powerful.
you see what it did to the University of Sankore. What it
Well,
did to the
that's why
University of Sankore.
Pan-Africanism will not work
Right. So
because some of these
No, it will.
people are Muslim fanatics. They're not gonna see you. They're not even gonna trade with you if you are not a Muslim. If you're not one of them,
Who tells you that we want to unite with
sir.
everybody?
Not you.
Honestly,
Not you. You have to get out of your emotion. Just let me say it. I'm not saying you. I'm just making the point that the reason why
so
why
what's the
it won't work
solution?
because of different ideologies.
But what's the
That's what I'm.
solution?
But what I'm saying is this.
What's
What
the
I'm saying is
solution?
this. No, hold on. What I'm saying is this. Why is it's not necessary for us to unite with everybody dark skin and call them Pan-African? Those who want to be Pan-African will be Pan-African, and those who don't want to be Pan-African will let you know they don't want to be Pan-African, and we put them to the side. Now, if they try to destroy our Pan-Africanism, that's another different conversation. So you don't have to be black or African and be a Pan-Africanist,
Yes,
but we as
have to
Africans
find.
also have the rights
Yes.
to be Pan-Africanists in
And
Africa.
you can be Muslim or Christian or traditional
Exactly.
and be
Unfortunately,
Pan-African.
the same phenomenon that happened years ago during the Mali Empire is a similar trend that's currently happening in West Africa. But however, they are a bit more moderate compared to those in northern Nigeria. I'm just going to make this clear because people in the far west are less
What's the trend?
extreme.
Pan-Africanism has nothing to do with
What's the
religion.
trend?
You can be a Muslim and be a Pan-African, right? You
Yes,
can be
you
a
can.
Christian and be a Pan-African. You can be a traditionalist
Yes,
and be a
thank you.
Pan-African. You can be a far priest and be a Pan-Africanist. It has nothing to
Thank
do
you.
with
I agree with that.
Look, that's fine. All I'm saying is, if the
you're
culture of
underqualified for this topic.
if the culture of corruption is eradicated, and most Africans have to, stop believing that selling people is normal because people still believe this stuff. So people need to stop believing that selling
The
people
Arabs are still
is
selling you in
normal.
Libya. The Arabs are still selling you in Libya.
Look,
It's the Arabs who are selling you in Libya, not Africans.
they need laborers, and Africans are selling them. That's all.
That's a lie. No, it's Africans who are trying to go
Mauritania.
from Libya to Europe
Look
who
at
they are
Let the
capturing.
Mauritania.
Obafemi talk.
That's
If
true.
you're
Cosmos,
from
hold on. Let
Mali,
the
what's
Who
the
do you
Obafemi
think are the
Mauritania?
ones doing the
Be
selling in
down.
Libya, sir?
You are not there. It's a lie, man.
Who do you think is doing
You
it
just
over
only want to
there?
see the negativity about Africa.
No, who do you think is selling the people, the Africans in Libya? You better do research, sir.
The fucking Arabs, man.
Listen,
Not the
wait.
Africans, it's the
The
Arabs.
Barbers, the Barbers, Amazigh
Let me.
are doing it. But
The white
anyway,
Amazighs. The white Amazighs.
Hold on, yo. Hold
yes,
on.
the white
Hold on.
Amazigh, the white. But and
So
also these
Hold
are the
on, hold
Africans that
on,
are
hold
going
on,
through
hold
their
on.
territory. Sorry,
let
go
me
on. Sorry.
let me try to put a little context in, because what we know in the diaspora is that we have already addressed all those concerns
But
here in America, in the sense that all of those different tribes were brought here. I am Fula, I am Yoruba, I am Efik, I am Bamileke, I am Zulu. Everything that was brought over here is in me. All of Africa is in me. I am Pan-Africanist by virtue of my reality.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the fact is that when you come to the bottom line about what is stopping from being able to feed yourself? What is stopping you from being able to define yourself? What is stopping you from being able to believe and practice your own spirituality according to your ancestry and your tribal affiliation? Then there's one system. There's one system that obstructs you. All of these other differences become small when you realize you got one common enemy. You got one common obstruction. That's the first thing. When you have that, then you realize you got one goal. The goal is always freedom. So no matter what side you're coming from, if you can point to what you're doing and how you can identify what you're doing with a pathway to freedom, then we can all agree and we can have a little bit more trust in one another.
What did you say?
But also when you look at all of in diaspora,
Stop interrupting. Let him speak, please.
None of us are calling in from Africa right now. All of us are calling in from the diaspora. So we are all the diaspora right now. All of us right now are the Africans who have managed to go into Europe, go into America, go into Latin America, go into the Caribbean. We've gone into Canada, and now we're here and we can see ourselves clearly. So what we can see is that the Arabs who call them and the ones who promote Islam and the Europeans who promote Christianity, they are working from remote control. They have their headquarters in Europe. They have their headquarters in America. They have their headquarters here in Canada. If we as Pan-Africanists concentrate our headquarters and here, and we are able to then promote and finance and guide and instruct our own vision on the continent and everywhere else in the diaspora, then the problem shifts, or the solution to the problem shifts. But the key is
this is why I want to talk about this problem next.
We got to decide, however, that we have a set of simple goals. And my goals may not be your goals. Everything that I want may not be everything that you want. I can respect that your goals are different from mine because the needs in Nigeria are different from the needs in Ghana, are different from the needs in Mali. The history here and it's different. But if I, as an African, know that if you are here and you're from Mali, I know why you're here. I know what you're doing here. How can I help you do what you do?
Exactly. That's a great point. That's a great point, sir. Because when we was divided, Afro-Demos, his tribe and my tribe have always been allies from day one. Never have been divided. But when it comes to the Fuller and the other tribes, we had issue with other tribes. But when Islam came, because the Fuller, this might be surprising. During the Tuklo Empire, which is one of the oldest, it's actually it was the same time as the Ghana Empire, before the Mali Empire. We actually merged into the Mali Empire. We was oppressed as people, us the Fuller. We was a small ethnic group, and basically when the Islam came, it's when we actually merged.
It swallowed you up. It swallowed you guys up.
Yeah, exactly. We swallowed us up and we merged into other tribes, and that's when we united with other tribes. We started intermarriages began, and we actually start moving around and became who we are today. And other tribes, and also Afro-Demos tribe, and also the Mandinka, the Bambara, and stuff like that. So Islam did unite us at one time, against the enemies. This is the things that we should be looking at, moving forward. I hope Islam does not come to an extreme version of Islam does not come, in the negative to destroy us, because, that's my only worry. And I'm glad, Afro-Demos is here because he's someone that speaks about it all the time. And I speak about the extreme version of Islam because we're both Muslim. We know it's wrong. We don't want it. And we know what our ancestors followed. For example, we the Fula, we have a group of Fulani called the Wudabe, because in Fulas we have different groups. The Wudabe, when Islam came, they didn't want it. They ran into the forest in Cameroon. You probably see a documentary about the Wudabe in
that's on Fulani. I have a female friend from Cameroon. She's Fulani.
Yes, they don't believe in Islam. The Wudabe
but let me ask you a question though. How come you guys? Because to me, from my observation, from my own analysis of history, the Fulani's hometown, it seems like the Fulani's originally were the who is Hannibal? Hannibal, the great warrior. What's the name of that land?
Carthage.
Carthage. I think that the original land of the Fulanis was Carthage. With the reason why
where northern Senegal, where Futa Toro is.
all the way up there to where Tunisia is, Algeria, and all that area, Libya. That is your own part. That is your land.
Yes, from northern Senegal. It was a massive territory. From northern
Exactly.
Senegal to where Morocco is, that's
Right.
exactly where
And you guys got deposed, then you guys come into nomads because you guys no longer had your home, or the Arabs already chased you out.
The Tuklo Empire became
nomads, and you guys became nomads.
They have two versions of Tuklo. One of them merged with the Amurabi, the other one merged with the Mali Empire. Yeah,
so which one is the Umayyad? Which one is the Umayyad dynasty, though?
The Umayyad dynasty that came in later. That was to do with the Berbers and the Arabs who came.
Oh,
the Umayyad came from outside. Yeah.
Can I say something?
The Mali Empire was actually swallowed. We were swallowed by the Mali Empire. Fula was part of the Mali Empire, just like the Bambara and the Mandinka. In fact, the Mali Empire was the Mandinka Empire, but we merged with them. We, Mandinka and Bambara, merged together. But during the Ghana Empire, it was the Soninke, which is Afro-Demos.
Yes.
But we were part. Because as I said, he knows, I know, the Soninke and the Fulas always been allies, always work together. They always, if you catch a Soninke committing crime, most Fula is behind. If you catch a Fula committing,
why do you keep attaching my name to the Ghana Empire? Just say Ghana and don't put Afridamus's name there. Like, just come on, man.
Hey guys, I want to say something though. Guys, I want to say something.
Go ahead. Go for
it. And Darius, I want you to be part of this. And if it is possible, if we can have a specific day every week where we Pan-Africans can come here and specifically talk about economics. We can talk about history, politics, and all those things, but we also need to have a good grip on our money. And what do I mean by that? We need to create a system for us whereby we can benefit off of our own money. So I have been thinking, how about we create a trust? And to that trust, we have co-trustees, right? And the beneficiary of that trust will be another trust. So the job of this trust, this money that we are putting in this trust, is to go to Africa and use this money to become venture capitalists. What do I mean? We start looking for lucrative businesses, from real estate to mining to food business, and this money is just moving. This money is moving, and every year we have a stock, right? We have a dividends. So everybody who money was used to make this profit and to do this business will get a return. So how can we?
I'm with you, Diners. I'm 100% in.
Hold on. So now the problem now is, right? How do we create a system? And that is why I think that now our next rule of Pan-African is technology, banking technology. What can we create that will give us trust? So, like for example, what can we create whereby if anybody Pan-African puts, let's say today you put $100 into that trust account, bang, and you get the text message back, bang, and text message goes to everybody that these certain people, maybe you can designate a number to that person, has put this amount of money in there, and here's the balance. Then create a system whereby in order anybody can use the money in that trust, there has to be a vote. And then even the business we are going to invest the money in, there has to be a vote on it. So we can have about 10 lists of businesses that are very lucrative, right? Then we're going to look at, okay, how many people put their money in there? What are the skill of the people who put their money in there? So instead of us hiring people outside of our group, we can actually hire ourselves to do those jobs. So I cannot do this alone. I need the full brain of my African people to come and please work with me. I am Nigerian. I have a Nigerian passport. I have an American passport. And there's a lot of opportunity in Nigeria. And please, let us stop talking. Our ancestors have intellectualized everything that we needed to know. There's no need for intellectualization anymore. The job of this generation is action. The job of our generation is to start taking action. And today we have technology and all this thing that can aid us. Right now, as of 2 weeks ago, $1 was 1,500 naira. If we could have amassed $100,000 right now, that would be about 200 million naira. That 200 million, imagine us buying 2 acres of land in Nigeria, and we are planting things like, let's say, What is it that everybody eats that we Africans that we have in common that we eat or something? So imagine the total cost to produce this thing in Nigeria is costing us $2,000. But by the time we get here and we sell the product, what cost us $2,000 to make? We are making
Yeah,
$50,000
no,
out of
no,
it.
no, bro. I understand. It's just I want to be very careful with investment. Um, I don't want to say schemes, but investment opportunities here on this platform, because in the past they just haven't went so well. And the thing, what happens if they don't go well, I get the finger pointed at me.
Well,
You know
that
what I
is
mean?
why I'm saying. That is
So,
why. Hold on,
so,
hold
so
on. That is why.
I just though I kind of got out of the. I mean, offline. If you guys want to, we want to discuss group economics and group investments, that's fine. But it's just
Yeah, I think that's more
when
best.
I've
That's what.
opened it up to everybody on YouTube and
No,
something
no,
happened,
I agree with that.
But hold on, Dynasty.
let me finish.
Let him finish.
I'm the one that gets the phone calls and the threatening emails and
Wow.
Dynast, why you scamming? Dynast, why you
Right,
scamming?
right,
I get all that stuff. So
right.
I don't want to deal with it. I'll just be
But can I
honest.
say something? Can I
My
say
thing is,
something?
so like, in fact, you could donate to if you, right now. So Obafemi has his project in Abeokuta,
Oh, for real?
and yeah, and so I'm saying, we need institutions. So why
Yeah.
not
Okay.
contribute towards that?
But
But
can I say something, Dynasty? That is why I suggested that in order for this to go on, there are some implementations that we need to put in place for anybody that wants to get in it. If you are going to get in it, you are getting in it for the long haul. Oh, and I also think that we need to have another channel created for it. This your channel is for us to intellectualize and talk and gather information from our fellow African family. Yes, I love it. But I think that if you create another channel for economics, those of us who are only going to go there are going there because we care about
well, I mean,
economics.
there doesn't need to be a separate channel for economics. We could talk economics here, but again, when it comes to the group investments, and I'm not doing that on this platform ever again, because
I
again,
mean,
it's
my
yeah,
brother Dynas had his own
it just
experience
yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
past.
I'm not doing it
You
on
know,
this platform
yeah,
ever again.
but it would have
So
been.
what are you? So
It's
what are
a
you
shame.
suggesting? So what are you? Because
I
we
mean,
can't keep talking.
offline, if people are interested, they email me, say I'm interested. I have no problem maybe putting something together. But I mean, people were adults, NFA. This is not a financial advice, just to give disclaimer in. Everybody needs to be doxxed. Everybody. So people right now who are on here under with usernames and profile pics with just initials. We need everybody needs to be doxxed, address.
Exactly. That's what I'm. Sorry, go
But
ahead.
again, I don't have time to even like manage it and
No,
be
no,
able
no, 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 no. I'm not
to
saying you should manage it though. It's
what
not
I'm
only you that's gonna manage it. That's what I'm saying, Diners. Hold on, Diners. That's what I'm saying. This is not something that one person should manage. This should be like we should have co-trustees. So there's about
Cosby, this is what you could do. You can give people your information. Guys, this is not financial advice. If you want to be a part of Cosmic's investment program, that is on you. Don't call me. If something happens, don't call me. Don't text me. I don't want to hear that. Well, he on your platform, Donnie. Why you let him on your platform? I don't want to hear none of that.
come on, Diners. Oh, come on,
No,
Diners.
I'm just being honest. I'm just being
I
honest.
understand. I understand.
If this has happened in the past, that is
yeah,
why you let him on your
But I
platform.
do
That is
not.
why
But
you on your
hold on, Diners.
platform.
Diners. I do not. I
It's
do
just
not.
like I don't want to hear it. So
But then
but so again, I gotta mute you, Cobb. You keep interrupting me. So if you want
yeah.
to put your email in there, y'all, if you want to start something with Cosmic, that's fine. Personally, Obafemi is our special guest. I know he has his actual project in Nigeria. If you want to get behind that and donate, so we get this institution off the ground, that I will support that. But I just because
Diners,
of
can I
what's
say
happened,
something?
because when I'm done, you can.
Okay.
That
Okay.
it's just because of just what's happened in the past. I don't want to deal with
Totally, totally
That,
understandable.
Can I
yeah.
say something now? Can I talk now?
it. Go ahead,
Diners.
Cosby. Go go
Okay.
go ahead.
See, I am not trying to do this alone. And this thing that I'm saying right now that's going to be a project. It might take a year, it might take 2 years. for us to even start putting money wherever we're going to put the money in. I want a very transparent, situation whereby I'm not the only one controlling anything. In short, I want a situation whereby there's before anybody can take money out of their account, for example, about 5, 6, 7, 10 people need to be authorized. And before you even take the money out, everybody involved, there has to be majority carries the votes. So before the money is even taken out of the bank, there has to be like
I mean,
scrutiny.
Cosmic, bro, I know how this stuff works, man.
Right.
I've
So
been here
so
before, man. I mean, it's just
uh,
again, Cosmic, again. If you want to put your email address in the main chat, people they can reach out to you. But guys, if something goes south, don't call me. All right, we're adults here. Okay,
Yeah,
don't
I
invest more than you can. I mean, don't invest
exactly.
your life savings. But again, if
Yeah.
y'all
Yeah.
want to strategize with Cosmic, go ahead, but don't call me if something happens.
I will create a WhatsApp group. I'm still thinking about it because, like I said, I don't want to do this alone. I want other Africans to come to me and talk. Let's talk together. Let's build this together. Let's see what is the best option for us. I'm not the leader here. I'm just one proposing this idea. And mind you, this is going to be a corporation. We are going to be moving like a corporation. We are going to be moving like a business. You know what I'm saying? We are looking at lucrative businesses and we are investing in it.
Man, Cosmic, man, we know Cosmic, we know. We've
Cosmic,
been
can
here
I
before,
say one
man. We
thing?
know Cosmic, we know, man.
Kazmi,
We
can I
know,
say one thing? I've been on Blue
we know.
Dynasty platform for years, right? And I'm not going to be. I hate to say this, but I come from one of the biggest families in Sierra Leone. I've got so many access to different things me and Dynasty can benefit from, right? But I've been thinking about it for years, but I cannot do it because I know realistically it's not possible, at the moment. Until if I was to meet Dynasty in Sierra Leone physically, he knows my people, and I know, you know what I mean? Because he already know people I know, based on what I've seen. But obviously, money is a very tricky business, and trust is a big issue in the world that we're living in today. In fact, Afrodemos, I don't know, years ago, I saw you highlighting some guys in the Gambia who came there, was involved in different scamming scheme and stuff like that, which obviously left a lot of people out of pocket. So there's a lot of stuff going on online and in the ground. You don't want to do that to people. And Dennis is a very honest brother. He's basically telling you, I like to do it, but unfortunately, based on other people' experience in the past and based on what I've seen and my gut feeling, it's not the right thing to do this way. So I hope you respect that, brother. Thank you.
Okay. Listen, we're gonna start closing out. Baba, you have anything else you want to share in closing?
Well, as before, as always, it's a tremendous honor and privilege to share the space with the bright minds of Africa discussing African concerns, and I'm particularly pleased to be able to share the little that I know and have experienced from the perspective of IFA, and I believe that as we're able to continue these kinds of conversations and really open our stomachs and our hearts to one another, that it will create more opportunities for us to create a shared vision and to start working towards uh, some outcomes that we can all appreciate and be proud of. Um, and so I want to thank you, Brother Dinas, for putting the platform together, holding the platform together. I pray that your ancestors will continue to support you, that the deities will continue to guide you, that your order will continue to uplift you, and that you will continue to be successful and a forerunner in the quest to honor our greatness and our
Ashe.
heritage.
Ashe.
Want to give thanks to all of the brothers and sisters who have shared insights and questions, all the good people who are sharing things in the chats, and even the ones who are to have maybe disparaging words to say. The Yoruba will tell us we give thanks for even the ones who looked upon us scornfully, because even they are evidence that we are here. And as long as we're here, we have an opportunity. And so we're thankful to be here, and we're thankful to be seen, and we're thankful to be heard. Um, I do want to again. I thank you. I see that the website is there. We are the Orisha Lifestyle Academy is 20 years in now, and it's not a new project. It's not a new initiative. This is not a new process. I have a 20-year track record with the Odisha Lifestyle Academy, and I have dedicated all of my adult life to using Yoruba culture and tradition to restore African minds here in the diaspora. And as Brother Dynas mentioned before, we are moving into a new chapter in the process, which is building our campus in Abeokuta, West Africa, Ogun State, Nigeria. And I want to invite you to participate and to donate and to be a part of something that is an institution that is intended to survive all of us. It is an organization that is intended to draw from all of the sectors of the African world. I believe that if we're here and we're on this soil here in the United States, that we have a unique opportunity to pool our resources and to create once and for all an institution that will reach back and create a bridge. I shouldn't say even reach back, just an institution that bridges America and Africa for African indigenous interests. And that's what the Orisha Lifestyle Academy is about. Before it's religious, before it's even, let's say, spiritual, it's about African indigenous knowledge systems and honoring the fact that we have the capacity to solve our own problems. And so I want to invite you to support and participate in proving to ourselves, not proving to anybody else, but just proving to ourselves that we have the ability to solve our own problems. We have our own standards of excellence, and we can invest in those standards and continue to invest in those standards until they solve the problems that we see that need to be solved. So with that being said, thank you very much. And I look forward to the next conversation.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Hey,
A3.
Don.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
A3, African is here to stay. Please, diasporas, take your time and invest wisely. Please stay safe. Guys, make sure you visit obafemio.com to learn more about the initiatives that Baba has going on. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I was doing this experiment to see how well patience works on the show.
Well, I didn't hear you. Say that again.
No, so I was doing this experiment to see if patience, will get you, anywhere on this show. So I kind of just sat back. No, I'm just being facetious. But I had some food for thought I wanted to add to the
go ahead
discourse.
Go ahead.
And it's simple. I feel like, not only having a shared history, but creating and celebrating a shared common experience continually would actually do a lot to further the consciousness of Pan-Africanism, right? So with that said, what are you all doing for Africa Day, right? It's every year, May 25th, but it usually goes off without a bang, right? And I feel like it's something that could serve as a unifying force, so to speak, over time. I mean, history has shown that having holidays, shared holidays, does a lot to strengthen and propagate culture throughout time. As far as Pan-Africanism goes, there's not much, but I think Pan-Africa Day would at least be one day that if people really celebrate it, propagate it, and promote it, and we all just took at least that day to dedicate it to celebrating Africa in all ways, right? Recognizing each other, as being products of Africa, would do a lot. So you have a great voice, big platform. I think you could do it some justice if you, put some effort into, getting everybody to, one of many, but, kind of promoting and propagating that day as a day of celebration. That's all I wanted to add.
All right, yeah, I appreciate it. I know RJ Monty, he usually does something every Africa Day, and I'll actually be in Africa during Africa Day. I'll be in Nigeria. So
Wicked.
Maybe I'll do something from there. But everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. But till next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.